fighting villains from afar. You gotta find first gear in your giant robot car. You dig giant robots, I dig giant robots, we dig giant robots, just dig giant robots. Nice.
Hello and welcome to the Anime Boomers podcast, courtesy of Megas XLR, which is written off as a loss by Cartoon Network, so anybody can just use the music, because if they copyright claim it, they'll have to pay a boatload of taxes for writing the entire series off. Hi everybody, I'm Gator, host of the podcast, and we have a special guest with us today, somebody who's never been on the podcast before. I always love episodes where we've got somebody new, and that's Charles Kahn, the masked bastard himself. How are you doing?
Hi guys.
Hey Cody.
It's one of those days. It's one of those days where we got a lot to do. We got a lot to say. I'm the meme bastard, Mr. Memes and meme accessories. Boy, I tell you what.
Now, were you trying to sound gay there? Was that one of your funny
Elon
accents?
Musk?
Hello, I am Elon Musk. I have a dildo of my buttocks at all times. Every time I speak.
Himself?
I am Dr. Meme. I am Dr. Grande. Hello. Dr. Grande talks like this. He has that kind of affectation when he speaks. Dr. Grande's voice cracks me up. Every time I hear him on anything, I'm walking around for a week doing the Dr. Grande.
It's good
Same
shit.
thing with Camelot. If I hear Camelot's voice, hey man, you gotta do that Camelot voice. You know how he talks.
Good. That was really good.
I know, man. I've been working on it. Every time I see him speak on anything, man, I just gotta hear that voice, and then it's in my soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's literally like a southern accent, but he sounds like he's on the borderline crying all the time. It's perfection.
He's got this high pitched thing that he does, and the
He
way
just
that
sounds like he's
trails.
about to cry.
Yeah, man, I'm about to cry.
I don't have any friends. I'm 30.
I gotta
won't
drive
talk
this
to me
car,
no more.
man. I gotta drive this car, man. It's as
say,
I'd say
give
the
her
voice.
the beans. You gotta say, give her the beans.
Give her the beans, man. Now roll that beautiful bean footage. I don't even know what that is. What's the beans? I don't know.
So-
He seems like a nice guy. I don't know him.
He told this story about this like really fat GameStop manager who went to like this conference, and he got a prostitute, and apparently he was like eating beans. Like while
Hey, everybody!
while he was doing it.
This guy's eating beans.
It's like I'm not doing the story justice. You have to hear Camelot tell it. It's so freaking funny.
The problem with content, and this is a problem I'm going to say for everybody, is there's too much content. I love you guys, but I've probably listened to your show in like 10-minute chunks. I've heard a couple of them, but it's one of those things where it's like, man,
Thanks for telling your show's terrible.
It's not
Appreciate it,
terrible.
bro.
It's not terrible. It's a good show. There's not a lot of shows I'll give that 10-15 minute listen to. I'll say that. I'll put you guys over.
To be fair, this isn't the first time, I guess, has been on our show and completely shat on it after appearing on it. So
I don't think that's not what I'm saying at all. You spooky weeb trash! How dare you?
I'm just saying that's what it sounds like in my
And
head.
then
Like,
it's just I
it's
was
only worth
insulting
10
the
minutes
show.
of my time.
That I gave the
It's only
show
worth 10 minutes
a
of my
review.
time.
Spooky Weeb Trash Podcast 0.0. She has no grade point average.
Mm. That's because I'm above being graded. I'm that great. You can't grade greatness. It's
We're on
already
the
great.
intros. We're on the intros, and already shit is way off the rails.
When fighting games, I'll tell you this too. I'm gonna be pissed off now. Welcome to Charles's pissed off minute. When fighting games added grades to the games, I hated that because then it would expose everything that I wasn't doing. It's like, well, you did pretty good. You were like an A+ on offense, A+ on technique. You didn't defend or block once. The F- for that. But everything else, you got all these points for. Maybe I didn't want to block. Maybe blocking is for losers.
Maybe you should get good.
Yeah, maybe you should get good, game. Maybe you should understand.
No, the
that you
game's
don't have
telling you to
block.
get good.
No. I've beat the game. I am
Apparently,
a
you
monster.
didn't beat it very well.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I mean, if you did, you'd get better grades.
I was a ruthless Zangief player. So I'd get up close.
It could come off as ruthless when you turn the difficulty down.
Oh no, I play on like the hardest, like whatever it was. Was it very hardest? It's so stupid how the language on these games are. Sometimes they'll have baby easy, and then was it Wolfenstein turned you into a baby if you have the little pacifier? There was that one, and then you have the legendary super real gamer mode. Those modes. I don't know. Should we pivot into anime? Am I going too much on everything else?
Probably should. We had topics.
Yeah.
We had topics.
I'm the mask_bastards. Where to find me? I do my own podcast, The Real Word Sickos. My co-host Jenna is out there somewhere. Hi, Jenna. Hi. Mudahar comes on a lot. He's our guy. We do a pretty good show. It's just it's a show. You can listen to it. I go off the rails and say silly stuff all the time.
I can tell.
I'm gonna duck all the way into my ass now.
We don't even have to do the plug at the end now. He's already done it.
Yeah, there you go.
Saves us time.
We also tend to go wildly off topic. I think the last episode we were going to talk about like Final Fantasy VII for a little bit, and then it was going to be like some VTuber stuff, and then it was like all Final Fantasy VII, and Lofty and Cody had like a 30-minute argument.
You didn't spoil that Tifa dies in the new one, did you?
You joke, but that's probably the stupid thing they do in this.
I feel like
shit.
Because I haven't played it yet, but I assume that like they either did one of two things. They either like had Aerith die again, and it's just like, oh, you can't, you thought you could change fate, but you can't change fate. I'm Tetsuya Nomura, I'm so smart. Or they like, had Tifa do it because, everybody likes Tifa. And it's like, oh, I subverted your expectations.
They take out a really long needle, really long, shiny needle, like a cartoon character, and it goes ping, and they pop each boob one by one like a balloon.
Oh, no, anything but that. No.
Boomers crying everywhere.
Zot the booba. Italy has a national day of mourning.
Yeah, Italy, like every flag in Italy.
Yeah, fuck Akira Toriyama. We rest in peace her tits. That's the thing we should really be crying and bitching about.
I don't even know where to begin with Akira Toriyama. We've been working on a piece. I don't know if it's going to be its whole. I don't know how many people know this, but I'm a writer for other YouTube guys. Like, I'm a secret shadow influencer. Ooh, shadow influencer. But
they
we've been
call
working.
Black people that too.
We've been working. We've been working on a piece about Akira Toriyama. Like, I've been looking for every anecdote, every like cute story about him, everything other anime and manga guys had to say. Do you guys say manga or manga? Which way do you guys go?
Pronounce manga.
It's manga, yeah.
Mangoes.
Anyway, the manga.
That gosh darn mangoes right there. Them Japanese, Chinese cartoon mangoes.
I love me some animu and mangoes.
Man, I like to call it manga. That's what we call it down here, down south, man.
I always heard it as Japanimation.
We started selling at GameStop, man. I brought in manga. It sold better than the games did.
That imitation's too good. I can't stop.
I know, man. One day I want to get on his show and do dueling Camelot, man.
It's like
go
dueling
into GameStop together. We'll hold hands.
I could DM him. I could DM him and say, "Hey, Master wants to come on your show." You'll love his accent.
Yeah, I would love to do that. One day I'm gonna get on a one of these shows or something with Wang, and I'm gonna do my evil Wang voice. Like, we'll do dueling Wangs. Hey, man. Do my Justin Wang.
Get your
He's
wangs
got a particular way of speaking. In my mind, I'm picturing Charles Bronson. He's got a little bit of that going on. He takes the jar and he shoves it all the way up his ass. He's got this happy way of speaking.
You just sound like, what was that guy's name? Who's like, oh yeah, brother, like the.
Yeah, brother.
No. Actually. What is that blonde main character guy? Duke Nukem. You just sound like you're doing a Duke Nukem.
Doing a Duke Nukem.
Like a Duke Nukem ASMR video.
Oh yeah. Spooky weeb trash. Take a glass jar, stick it up his ass.
Hey,
those alien bastards shoved a glass jar up my ass.
I'm
Yeah, you
still
sound like
picking
Duke
out
Nukem.
the
I think
shards
we're just
today.
rank-
Yeah. I'm-
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. The Duke Nukem Forever is, man, that could have went so much better. That's one of those like, I just shake my head and I want to cover my face and begin crying because it just didn't turn out right.
It wouldn't be
at
so bad if that
all.
wasn't the last Duke Nukem we've gotten.
Yeah, you'd think Duke Nukem would be an easy franchise to just crank one after the other because they did on the PlayStation 1. They did those Tomb Raider clones. I remember one had the title "The Planet of the Babes." That was the name of it. Man, it was Planet of the Babes. Sold it at GameStop, man.
I don't know. I hate to use this phrase because it gets so overused, right? But I don't think you could make Duke Nukem today, and if you did, it would be like a dickless, neutered shadow of its former self.
Duke Nukem.
Those alien bastards cut off my dick.
Like it would be something like Duke.
Maybe like
That's
female to
right.
male is what it
No,
is.
Yeah,
no,
Duke
no, it
Nukem,
wouldn't-
every time he kills somebody, instead of saying "let God sort him
You
out,"
could see like the
Trans
surgery
rights.
scars underneath his chest every time.
No, it would be something like he can't have women around anymore. We can't have bikini babes.
yeah,
Duke
they
can't be getting
gave him
blowjob.
pills that made it like he's been chemically castrated now, and he
He
can no
could-
longer get erections.
He could be like make one-liners, but now there has to be humor at his expense. He can't be cool. He has to be like a nerd, and we have to have some empowered woman that's kind of ugly woman that like gives him orders, like the head, like some government agent sending
That
him
fat
on
black
orders.
ugly lady.
See, I
And
wanted
she looked like
him
the chick from
to.
Suicide Squad or something.
What I would have wanted for Duke Nukem, and I tried to get it to be a thing, was for Duke Nukem because he would quote phrases from movies that were popular, like the popular phrases like "Hail to the King, baby," and he'd say stuff like "I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." He would say
Yeah.
stuff like that from popular movies. That was Army of Darkness and They Live. I wanted him to shoot somebody and then go, "I know Kung Fu." You know, shit like that. I thought that would have been a great gag. That would have been a great line. Completely shot down. Just a mess of a game that never should have come out at all, I think. I think they should have just scrapped it, made a whole new Duke Nukem, said Duke Nukem Forever is never coming out. Like what they cobbled together is, it was dated at the time when it came out. What was it, 11, 12 when it actually came out? God, it feels like 1,000 years ago, but it was a dated game when it came out, and it had the game came out in 2002, 2004, it probably would have done, you know, reasonably well. I don't know. I don't think it was a hot seller.
It was
And
2011 when it came out.
Yeah. Wow, that feels like a lifetime ago. Duke Nukem Forever should have been a hot property. It should have been a downloadable game. I think if it was a downloadable game, you know, like an Xbox Live Arcade game, I think that would have been a better spot for that game. I think it would have done better, but maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't have. What do I know?
I'm telling you, I don't have Uno.
What the hell's with this game Braid? He rewinds time? That's a bunch of bullshit. Soldier Boy Tell Him playing Braid is one of the greatest videos ever put online.
I didn't know that happened.
Tell Him, oh, it's one of the
Yeah, that's where
greatest
that comes
pieces
from,
of
yeah.
content. He's got multiple TVs set up in this baller, you know, like, look at me, I got money, gamer setup where he's got multiple Xboxes sitting there, and he's playing Braid. He's like, man, look at this shit. Y'all don't even know this. Look at this. He's like, whoop. I go off the edge and fall in these spikes, and I push this button, whoop, and he rewinds time.
And the
He's
best
just
part-
so mesmerized by it.
The best part, because he was making fun of Braid, he said it was dumb.
Yeah.
The guy that
This shit
made
dumb.
Braid, got so ass mad at Soldier Boy over that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is the most, if you want to know about like a super serious guy who is there's some guys that I always meet, and it's like, I gotta make this guy laugh. Like I can detect the stick up somebody's ass, or the seriousness, or that demeanor of I'm a working guy and I take pride in my work. And if I can pop those guys and be silly, then I feel like I've got them. Like it's like a win when you realize somebody has that shield up, and you know that they're like super serious. I heard that dude's house, like he was living in. He had like almost no furniture in his house, and this is after he'd become a super millionaire from Braid. No furniture. It was like this most minimalist, like a beanbag chair and this laptop on the floor. Like when you see the apartments where it's like guys live like this, and women just can't believe it. It was one of those places where it's just almost nothing. This is what it was described to me. I said, "Wow."
Yeah, I'm sharing the. I think this is the video here. If you pop into
you found Soldier Boy Tell Him?
Yeah, it says Soldier Boy provides his thoughts on Braid. If you tune in here, you'll be able to watch it.
Thoughts. I guess Soldier Boy Tell Him has thoughts.
I love, by the way, that you use his full proper name every time. It's not Soldier Boy. It's Soldier Boy Tell Him.
Well, it's like a hip name. Like, baby, you gotta say it all at once. It's like a Tribe Called Quest.
You say the whole thing.
You say the whole thing.
Say the whole damn thing, baby. Oh, God. Poor Soldier Boy Tell Him. God rest his soul. I know he's still alive, isn't he?
Probably. I assume
his career's not. He's dead. He's dead. He's gone. Like, what's he doing now?
My favorite Soldier Boy lore is how he
bootlegs.
tried commissioning Chris O'Neill to make a music video for him because he used to use Newgrounds a lot. And he's like, "Yo, man, I love your shit, dog. I want you, like, making animations of me killing, in words, brothers and shit."
Oh, God.
So, imagine if Chris O'Neill took that job of killing a bunch of people. That'd be hilarious. That's my favorite Soldier Boy lore.
God, there's... That guy, when he put out a video game console, and it was just one of these like cheap knockoff Chinese trash consoles, I don't think I've laughed that hard at somebody's failure in a long time.
Oh yeah,
that's probably been a few years, but man, it was still hilarious.
Yeah, he's got like 2 TVs in there.
Yeah, he's got this crazy setup, which is not that dissimilar from the setup I have now. You can do this. Watch this.
How you did that? If you didn't catch that, I just went back in time through the whole game.
I just went back in time, baby.
Like, you about to die. You be like, oh,
you about to die. He's so excited.
Watch this shit.
Yeah, I told you he made the noise.
So say like,
And just while you watch this, remember, the creator of Braid is seething.
Yeah, I'll think of his name. He was a little bald-headed dude. What was his
He's
name?
watching this seething.
Oh, man. There was... Because Braid didn't originally look like this. Braid had a totally different art style. The edgy Newgrounds guy had done art for it that looked totally different. Yeah, this goes on for a while.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am cursed with the knowledge of deep lore of internet garbage like this. Things that will forever be burned in my mind.
I know the feeling, yeah.
It's why I try to avoid watching anything involving the super lolcows like Chris Chan. I want nothing of him, because then I'll start to do the voice. Hey guys, hi guys.
Well then, if I want to really fuck with you, I guess I should introduce you to a man named Daniel Larson then. Because I do believe Chris Chan, despite how deeply he's documented, I do believe he's been topped. We got a new, it's a new era of lolcowdom. It's a new age. Oh my god.
We had to look into this guy who is a super diaper fur guy. What was his name? Or Pamper Chew?
Oh god, not Pamper Chew.
That was one of the first things I had done for my YouTube buddy that I do stuff with. And we were looking through this stuff and like annotating Pamper Chew videos and coming up with well, in this video, he's got this weird boyfriend who's paying for everything, and he's way older and Asian and just looks angry. Oh God, it's a creepy video, man.
Everything about that guy's
somebody. I get the feeling that motherfucker's gonna take a life at some point.
If he hasn't already.
Like, I don't think he's gonna come at somebody with a knife. I think he's gonna do, like, he's gonna be housemates with somebody, and they're gonna do weird shit one day, and he's just gonna cause an overdose death or something.
Yeah,
Didn't he, like, give himself cancer?
Somebody will open up the fridge, and he'll say, you didn't put the peanut butter on your sandwich, did you?
Didn't he give himself cancer from eating his own diapers?
No, that's an old wives' tale. He's not healthy at all.
I mean, imagine eating your diapers by himself and then cooking them in a microwave.
Yeah, he would heat up. So for those that don't know, in the anime boomer audience, because this is, has everything to do with anime, I'm sure.
In a roundabout way.
Say his name's Pikachu, anime, Japan.
Yeah, Pamperchu it wasn't enough just to get diapers. He would get used diapers. Wear them. He would microwave them so that they would heat up warm, and then he would wear them. The guy seemed absolutely unhinged insane. And he wanted to document his entire life and show him tinkering with old radios. I think the video turned out pretty good. Like people can go watch that one. It's on the Papa Meat channel. It's pretty good. I liked the way that one turned out for us. But man, that was.
Do you write for Papa Meat?
Sometimes I writer, researcher, whatever.
We met him in like Anime Matsuri.
Yeah, I recorded his panel.
I'm sure he's very nice in person, online.
Massive dickhead. Is that what you're saying?
No, he's not a dickhead. Online, he's not Hitler. He's just cursed with finding all these like awful people and documenting them. Not unlike what Wang has to do, where it's...
Oh, I thought you meant implying like him being your boss, because I know he worked with that transgendered individual recently that tried canceling for being a boss because they
I don't
wanted,
know anything about that, and will recuse myself of any conversation.
I guess you are like his employee. I will say that. For what I recall, it was a transgendered individual.
Disavow.
It was a healthy person that wanted more money for being his editor, even though they didn't do fucking shit. So he fired
Disavow
them.
spooky weeb trash. I hear nothing of this. La 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 la.
I just don't.
This is not things that are entering into my mind. I have not seen any videos from anybody like Turkey Tom or Oompaville about this. Have not watched those. Don't know anything about the situation. Don't know anybody involved. Don't know anything about it, and I want to never know. So don't say it. Just watch the video about Pamperchu and laugh your ass off because it's a weird dude online.
I would say that situation involves a weird dude online, but I wouldn't say which one's the dude.
Pamperchu is the weird dude. That's the video.
No. The other situation, the weird dude
situation
online.
that is disavowed, that I know nothing about. I know nothing. I'm turning into Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. Nothing. Hogan.
I know nothing.
Hogan,
I'm just saying, if I was an employer and there's this person that showed a history of being suicidally depressed online and showed the worst attributes as a person, you probably shouldn't employ them.
Let's talk about anime. Let's talk about anything else.
Let's talk about a dead guy. So that Akira Toriyama, right? Sure is dead.
Boy, I tell you what, he sure worked in anime and anime accessories.
I mean, he did change shonen for better or for worse. You could argue against that. There's plenty of cool shit he did. There's plenty of tropes that come out because of that.
I am not going to sit here and let any Akira Toriyama slander slide. I don't give a fuck if you're not into shonen. That man changed everything, not just shonen. He didn't just...
Flat out.
More than anime. He fucking video games.
Yeah, Dragon Quest defined.
He changed Latin America itself. I mean, I'm playing the video here. Look at this. This is Buenos Aires.
You want to talk about flying at half mast? A country that has gone suicidal. The entire country is suicidal now.
There's so much.
They're still in mourning. Like, they're still sitting Shiva for him.
There is so much shit that this man.
There will be statues of Goku put up in Latin America. More of them.
it is no exaggeration to say this one man, through his drawings, irrevocably. What's the word I'm looking for? Like,
irrevocably?
No, but that's not the right word. Like, he permanently shaped human culture on this entire goddamn planet. Our media, the way that we perceive fiction and storytelling, was changed and reshaped by this one guy because he wanted to make stuff he thought was funny and neat. Like, I don't think the impact that this man had can be fathomed. Like, any words that I could pluck would not, like, do it justice. It would not fully help anyone comprehend the impact he had, even on little things, even on the way we think of, like, visuals and aesthetics, the ideas of a transformation to make you stronger in fiction. Like, even you say, well, someone did it before Toriyama. How do you really think they were influenced by that? Or do you think that they were influenced by Toriyama?
Toriyama definitely pulled from, I'll think of the fella's name, it's a tough name for me to say. He's the Astro Boy fella.
Tezuka.
Osamu
yeah.
Tezuka.
You could see some influence from that guy. What was his name?
The
one that did Devilman.
Guy, definitely.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of that influence, and the other guy was the Kinnikuman guy, the muscle. You can see a little bit of muscle in Dragon Ball, but it's very much its own thing. Like, you go and look at Dr. Slump and Dragon Ball. Like Dr. Slump was not a super mega cultural hit, but it was still a successful enough like stuff for him. Like, it went to series. There's not a lot of guys who have multiple mangas that they run that go to series on TV and have toys and everything put of them.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's crazy the way he's like, even little things, right? I don't think folks realize how many manga villains and video game villains are just Frieza.
Yeah, the wrestling booking that guy was able to employ in his storytelling. I was breaking it down for somebody the other day. I said, you want to know how you get somebody over? How you introduce a new character and get everybody to like this new babyface hero character. It has to do with Trunks. They wanted to introduce this new guy, and so they have Frieza show up, him and his dad, and they're cyborgs, so he's even meaner than he was before. And we just watched, 30 episodes of Goku struggling to fight this guy? And immediately Trunks just kicks their ass with a sword, just kills them. Boom. That instantly puts this guy over, says, oh man, he just took out the top heel and did it in the squash match. Now we've got this new character. Like, that's such a brilliant way to bring in a new guy and introduce him and get him over.
And not only that,
job out the old villain.
Usually that's a bad thing, right?
There's a way to do it that's good, and a way to do it, because if you're not going to do anything with that Trunks guy, with this new guy who comes in and just make him look like a punk, because then you bring in your next villain and you have this guy that you just showed as the new powerful guy. He has to job out to the new villain, and that shows, oh man, this guy's even stronger than the other dude.
And what you're describing,
and then you push your main guy back into position to be the guy.
And what you're describing is a lot of people are hearing this like, yeah, duh, we've seen that a million times.
Yeah.
You've seen it a million times because of this son of a bitch. You've seen it a million times because Dragon Ball imprinted on a generation of what to do and how to do an action story, an adventure.
They also do a very good job of heel face turns, where they'll take the bad guys. There's nobody more evil than Tien-Shin. Like, people see Tien-Shin in Dragon Ball Z, because I know in America Dragon Ball Z is way more popular, but Tien-Shin is one of the worst, evilest, most deadly villains. Like, he kills how many of Goku's buddies? Just flat out kills them.
I think you're thinking more I don't think Tien-Shin Han.
Who am I thinking? Maybe I'm thinking more Piccolo.
Piccolo.
Yeah, Piccolo.
But I could have swore Tien killed some people and was a bad guy.
Tien was just a mysterious dick. He didn't kill
am I
anybody. He was
thinking
like
of?
he was a disciple of
Well, I'm
Roshi's
thinking of King Piccolo.
rival.
King Piccolo kills everybody. It's been a while since I watched through all the Dragon Ball, but he kills everybody. He shows up and he's this gnarly villain, and it's like, oh man, how are they going to do here?
He was depicted as the devil.
Literally,
pretty much. He was the devil.
Yeah.
And then they have this reuniting as allies. Like, ooh, the whole world is threatened now, and I need the most strongest dude I can help. And it just happens to be my former nemesis, who now, he looks a lot younger, and he's wearing this big turban.
And now, like, then Goku's son...
Yeah, has him raise his boy, basically. Has him work with his son.
It wasn't even Goku's choice, because Piccolo's like, oh, there's going to be more Saiyans? Well, I'm going to forcibly toughen this boy up. And of course, at the time, Piccolo's still evil, so I'm abducting your son to make him stronger. But in then doing so, Piccolo ends up getting empathy, because he starts caring for this kid.
They do such a good job on with storytelling of the way that they show off the environments and show off all these weird creatures. Early Dragon Ball, where it was Goku is just on his own out in the forest and he's catching huge fishes and things. That's what the Gohan. The Gohan training stuff reminded me of. It was like, ooh, here we go, the mirror, the poetry, it rhymes kind of thing. Yeah, where we get to see the son, like the father, it has to go out. But he's, been sheltered his whole life, so he's not instantly as happy with it as Goku was when Bulma first finds him. He's this wild boy out in the woods.
Yeah, Gohan was
such a great parallel, as they say.
Yes.
Where you see that storytelling. Something in my notes that I had found was the machinery. All this crazy machinery and devices. I love... Toriyama has this fascination with that. There was... somebody told me an anecdote that the girl's wearing goggles. There was a teacher he had in grade school who was a gardener, and she would wear goggles like that, and so that became a thing in all of the stuff that he did. The goggles.
Clearly some kind of greasehead, because the machinery and the
vehicles
he would draw
take apart and rebuild any kind of machinery he could get a hold of. He was super into working with engines and things. Was just that kind of guy. Loved tinkering and these those oddball, I guess you'd call them spaceships, but or flying machines, contraptions. That's the word I want to use, contraptions.
He had a very unique mechanical
It was a great idea, because she would put the little pill thing and throw it down, and then here's this car, or here's a motorcycle.
It's very much in line with Toriyama's style of silly and serious at the same time.
Yes.
It's just this little goofy thing of these capsules, and they make a big poof, boof, and then here's a thing. But at the same time, this is these capsules are important. They're survival. It's
amazing too how he's able to see little things super early on in the story that don't pay off for until we get into the Dragon Ball Z stuff. All the way up there, it's ooh, I wonder if he just put it in there and was just sort of winging it. Maybe I'll do something with this. Maybe
here's the thing. I can answer that. Yeah, he was. Toriyama was the undisputed God King of writing by the seat of his pants. This guy could make shit up as he went along, make it fit perfectly, and make you think he had... One of the biggest and best examples, right, was in Dragon Ball Super. He's doing the Tournament of Power arc. He needs a new transformation because it's the big thing, and he wants a good marquee new form to get people...
It's in his final form.
Yeah, so what's he doing? He's trying to think. He can't just do Super Saiyan Blue 2 or something. He's got to do something special, something new. So he remembered he had... give Goku and Vegeta this line about, you have to get so good that your body reacts on its own. Perfect. Ultra Instinct. He didn't, and so now it looks like he foreshadowed Ultra Instinct. He didn't. He just went back and remembered this kind of be water, my friends, Bruce Lee line that we
You put water in a cup, it become the cup.
Yeah, so he just took that and is perfect, that will be the new form. So now everyone's oh my god, he foreshadowed it arcs ahead. No, he didn't. He's making shit up as he goes along, but he's so good at it that it looks like he's playing 4D chess. Nah, he just happens to be that good at 2D chess that if they threw him in 4D chess, I could kind of figure this out. there's all kinds of stuff, even stuff that like were technically plot holes in like the Z era when Super came along, or just like some other stuff. He's like, yeah, it's because of this, and then he just made it work. He's like, yeah, okay, I accept that unquestioningly. Like, why did Trunks and Goten go Super Saiyan so fast? And initially, he's probably just thinking, well, their dads were, and they probably just do it easier because their dads unlocked or whatever. And a lot of people didn't like that. Well, you see, thing is, Saiyans are actually stronger when they're in a peaceful domestic situation, and that's why that's like the irony of their race, because they want to be warriors. But if they live peacefully, it actually makes them stronger and develop faster. So because Goten and Trunks were on a peaceful life on Earth, they developed faster and got stronger faster. And then he went and used that further with the Universe 6 Saiyans, and they're more peaceful people. So they were baseline stronger than our Saiyans, even if they haven't gone Super Saiyan yet. So he could just
this makes me want to watch Super and
I
get caught up on all that, because I didn't go that far. I watched they put out this like a movie. It might have been before the Super series came out.
It was. You're talking about Battle of the Gods?
Battle of the Gods. It felt like a reunion movie, not unlike a Brady Bunch. Like, let's get all the kids back together again for a picnic, and you get to catch up with the characters again. It was very cute, and it's a lot of, it's like a victory lap kind of thing, is what it felt like to me, of this like encapsulation of, well, your characters, they're still having fun together. Your buddies are still here. It's nice to see the gang again. And that was all I ever saw of the Super stuff. I'm sure it's good.
It's even better than that. This is why I say this guy is fucking brilliant, just making up as he goes. Dragon Ball became infamous for its power scaling and characters getting stronger, stronger, stronger. So Toriyama, this is the smartest shit. I bow at this. Like, well, what do? Do you just keep making the character stronger? No. What he did was he introduced gods. He introduced this pantheon, and now all that power scaling that just seemed like the characters are getting absurdly stronger and stronger and stronger, well, now it has an objective. Now it has a purpose, because now our characters are starting to poke into this sort of pantheon of goddom. Now the characters are working to get the strength of actual gods. Now when Goku and Vegeta and the villain of the week are just, each one's got a higher power level, now it's like that ladder isn't just this endless ladder to nowhere, and that's the problem a lot of manga has with power scaling. It becomes an endless ladder to nowhere. By introducing gods of destruction and these deities and this pantheon, that ladder now has a point. There's something at the top of that ladder that we're watching our protagonists attempt to reach. That shit was so... I kneel, because it was like the one thing you could give Dragon Ball shit for is just the absurdity of the power scaling, and then in an instant, in movie, he made it make sense. He gave it a point. And just like that, it was no longer a joke. It was no longer a bit. It was no longer a criticism. Now it had purpose. I don't even know where to begin. There's not going to be another one like it.
I feel like we're going to have to touch on his work on Dragon Quest as well. It's a simple design, that little slime booger creature. But man, there's a lot of play there with the... I forget what they call them in Japan. Like, you have the Drakies, you have the magicians, all those creatures from the first Dragon Quest.
Pretty much the same name, just the Japanese word. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just a doodle. That little slime is just a little doodle.
They took, which the guys took and made into a whole franchise. There was one day not that long ago, I stumbled onto a guide for Dragon Quest when it came out on the Game Boy. They put out it was Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest 2 in like one package, and it was a strategy guide. And I found myself flipping through it and going, "Oh man, look at all this!" He did key art for all the items, all these characters, every single piece of equipment, and
every
it's all
time I
very
look at
clearly
this little
that.
slime shits, I think of Maddox. Think of Maddox.
Oh yeah, he inexplicably had the slime bed.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. I tweeted that out when Toriyama died, and I think people didn't understand that it was a bit. I said I loved him so much, I even had the bed sheets.
Hey, look, I'm sure Maddox had way more pussy on that slime bed than most people watching this program, okay? I'll give him some cred.
Does Maddox
I
own
don't
cats?
think he did.
Maddox doesn't own cats. He's not Alf.
I get it. I got it. I got this guy.
I like how little
I don't even know if
too in the background.
I don't even know if Maddox knows anything about Dragon Quest. I wonder if he just got that bedsheet because haha, I'm so ironic. Look at the big
I
silly
just thought
smile.
it looked cool.
I just
wanted someone staring at me in the middle of the night. Someone.
I thought that this would be a cool thing to have.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Toriyama.
But you have your Dragon Quest, and then follows that up. 10 years later, they do, which I might be in the camp saying that Chrono Trigger is probably the best one of those kinds of games. Because it feels like the best of Dragon Quest and the best of Final Fantasy in a single product with a clear vision.
Yep.
Well-defined characters that all have 3 dimensions to them. They all have backstories. They all have motivations. They all have their own unique gimmicks that are separate and different from everybody else.
Yeah,
man, what a game! And it's a true epic because it has arcs, like there are mini arcs, and then there's like the main overarching story, and the fact that it has all those alternate endings. Oof.
Yeah, it's just infinitely replayable. And one of the cool things I like that I appreciate that doesn't get talked about a lot with Chrono Trigger, I enjoy that it's a JRPG with a Lovecraftian sort of outer god antagonist, because usually JRPGs feel like they need... I mean, Trigger has its main human antagonist, but they kind of revolve. Like, you have Magus and then Zeal and all. But, like, Chrono Trigger, like, usually a JRPG has to have, like, the guy that you confront that has, like, a personal connection at the end. Like, he has to be, like, the man, the guy, even if he's becoming a god or whatever, the guy. But Chrono Trigger's ultimate antagonist was this thing from the stars that we barely even understood, but like its influence kept popping up. Like even if you only saw the thing in front of you a couple times, you just saw its impact. Like you never really get a true Lovecraftian evil in a JRPG.
It's very alien.
Even when they invoke like fucking Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, whichever one it is, will invoke like names of Lovecraft things, but it doesn't really have that Lovecraft vibe. It just kind of name drops Nyarlathotep and says it's Lovecraft. Chrono Trigger got it with Lavos. Even with it having that simple name, Lavos is just pure, uncut, unfiltered Lovecraft, and I love it. I put that shit right in my veins. I love that shit. And people don't really bring that up as much.
Even the scene where, like, Chrono, you go up against it, and it just, like, immediately nukes Chrono, and you're just like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. It's like, you've gone so far in the game, it's like, yep, Chrono just got nuked, and you're just like, oh.
Really thought we were going to be the guy, but no, he's gone.
And like, it doesn't talk. Like, it does have thoughts. Like, that's the thing, like, how much of this thing is planning this, and how much is it just, this is what it does, because it's that kind of almighty idiot thing. It's like, it's just a creature, clearly, it's just come to Earth to feed, reproduce, and procreate and send its spawn out into the stars. But like,
there's a part of me that would love to have a sequel that explain what Lavos is and what it does and what it means.
I think that would kind of ruin it.
There's a lot of deep sequels in horror movies that do that, and it ruins it every single time. Once you find out, well, actually Alice Cooper was his dad, and he was really mean to Freddy Krueger as a boy, and that's why he grew up to be a child murderer. Very clear distinction. In Freddy Krueger, he's a child murderer, okay? We have to say that, murderer, every single time. That's the one thing I hated about the remake, is that he was the other M. that changes the character of Freddy Krueger.
He's that bad Metroid game?
Suddenly nobody can like him. Yeah, he's the other M. It's like, ooh, we can't have toys of this guy hanging up on the wall. This isn't cool.
Yeah, I think honestly, like, I'm on the Chrono Cross was good camp. Despite
I never played it.
It's got issues, but it's not as good as Trigger, but it's still really good.
Yeah, I love.
I would love to carve out 100 hours for it and play it.
Do it.
I've been playing Dragon Quest. I got the Steam Deck. I've been playing Dragon Quest 11, and I was like, I'm like 80 hours in. Let me ask my friend. Because I just helped these mermaids. Like, how much more of this game do I have to go? And my timer says it's like 80, 90 hours. And he's like, oh, you're like 10, 15% through the game. It's like, really?
Oh yeah, I heard Dragon Quest 11 is long as shit.
It's a beast of a game.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. Dragon Quest 7 might be the ultimate. You've played 100 hours and you just unlocked how to change classes kind of game. That one is a whopper of a game. Fantastic game. I loved it. There's so many great little stories in that. Like you have a buddy, a party member who decides to stay back in the past. He like meets a girl, because that one's all about like time travel. Like you're in the past world, you're in the future world, or present world, and you're slowly rebuilding the world piece by piece. And your buddy decides he's met a girl. He's like, I can't hang with you no more, man. I'm staying here with the girl. And so you go back to the present. You go up on this hill, and you find his tombstone. It's like, and it says like how much he loved that girl, and it's just gutted me. Just completely gutted me. I was like, he spent his life with that girl, huh? Like that, like rather than come on the ultimate adventure and save time, he's like, no, I got my own shit to worry about, man.
That's a king move right there.
Yeah,
King move. Yeah.
absolute Chad unit.
Chad unit.
And on the subject of Toriyama, his Dragon Quest designs, I think some of his best designs were like the end game or like boss stuff.
Oh the big, the big
there's
crazy bosses. Every one of them does a switcheroo where you're chasing a guy for like the first half of the game, and then the real villain shows up, and he's 1,000 times more evil than the other guy was. Like the bad guy you thought was a son of a bitch bastard that sold you into slavery and all this other bad shit. Well, it turns out he answers to a higher power, and he is this big monster thing that is a gnarly design.
Well, here's the fun thing about that, right? Because I think Toriyama even copped to this. He would go extra ham on Dragon Quest designs because he's like, well, this isn't for a manga. I don't have to draw this 20 times. I just have to design this, draw it once, and then never again. So it doesn't matter like what the graphics team of the game has to do with this design. I'll just go completely ham on it, and then I'm done. So he would just go in, especially final boss designs.
I'm trying to remember which one had the green guy that had a bunch of different forms.
Oh shit! I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember if that was
the dude
4 or 6.
that people say Sephiroth is based on.
I can't remember, but man, it was
Sorrow
so cool. As
Manslayer.
I'm playing through it on the DS, because that's the way to play through those mid ones, the middle chapters. So it was they did. So there's remakes of 1, 2, and 3 on the Super Nintendo. That remake of 3 on Super Nintendo looks so good. I think that's the one that the iOS and the new Switch versions, I think that's what they're pulling from. But the DS versions of it was 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, that guy.
And then they did 7. It was more of a total remake for 7 because 7 had some issues from being a PlayStation 1 game.
I see that. I see that they may have gotten Sephiroth from Sorrow.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Sorrow is like the that's where the inspiration for Sephiroth.
You should bring back more male Sephiroth inspirations, if you ask me. I'm totally fine with more silver-haired husbandos out there in the universe.
You like that Bishonen? You like a kind of guy that's got a wimpy. He's a wimpy guy. That's what you like. You like a man who's Bishonen. He's got slender hair.
I couldn't tell if you were doing like a Camelot impersonation or like
I'm doing a totally different character.
Is it? It almost sounded like you were doing.
Different.
Sounds like something
What's
Empty
Jimmy
Hero would
Neutron's
do.
friend? His name's Carl. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing like a Carl voice mixed with Camelot.
No, man, if I was doing Camelot, you'd know.
That voice sounded like something Empty Hero would do.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
I just like doing bad cartoon voices. My problem watching cartoons and watching anime is that I want to parrot it back at the TV. While I'm working on stuff in the afternoons, I'll put on. I've never watched it before because I was like a year too old for it when it hit, the Yu-Gi-Oh, and I never played the card game, so I know nothing about it. I've seen guys get super into it. I put it on Netflix
English
one day.
Specifically, right? That's what you were watching?
What's
the 4
that?
Kids dub? Did you watch the 4 Kids dub?
It's the one that's on Netflix.
Good. That's the one you should be watching.
Now I want to find the 4Kids dub and hear how bad that is.
It's great.
One Piece, I never could get into One Piece. I'd only ever watched the 4Kids dub. I watched it the day it debuted. I watched it. I was like, I don't know if I get it. I don't think I like this.
4Kids One Piece dub. It's like it's in that special kind of Hall of Fame of
one thing I like
terrible entertainment. It's up there with. It's like I don't know if it's fully The Room because it doesn't have that cult following of people like laughing at it. But in terms of just being bad and the writing and the acting, it's Room level.
There's an older Devilman anime that we watched that had a crazy dub like that, but it went the other way because it's more adult.
Oh yeah.
This weird dub.
That was similar to The Room, actually.
What's the one? There's one that sounded like a fake dub, and I'm trying to remember the name of it.
There's a lot like that.
It
that
felt
was from
like
the 80s, I think, or 90s.
Oh man, what was the name of that anime I'm thinking of? Somebody posted clips of it the other day, and I was just giggling my ass off. Like, this can't be real.
Could have been the Garzy's Wing dub is infamously.
Yeah, Garzy's Wing is so bad.
It had a more normal name. Let me look through my YouTube
on its own
history.
On its own, the show is just kind of a weird. Like, it was the guy that created Gundam. He's just kind of made a weird fantasy. It's not that remarkable, even though the dude that runs ANN keeps trying to prop it up like it's The Room. It's not that bad or weird, but the English dub of Garzy's Wing is it is something special.
I love a bad dub as much as I love a great dub.
Yeah.
I'm, not to be an anime boomer, but for me, anime, I still want to call it Japanimation sometimes. I still have that muscle.
Not to be an anime boomer on the Anime Boomer podcast or anything.
I want to call it Japanimation because that's what it used to be. It used to be Japanimation night on Cinemax. Get to watch Vampire Hunter D.
Oh yeah,
it was Vampire Hunter D. They had it wasn't the first Golgo 13. It was Queen Bee. They had that one. It was Wicked City, which is a crazy anime to watch as a 10-year-old.
You should not be watching Wicked City as a 10-year-old.
No, you shouldn't be.
People are saying Ghost Stories as bad as The Room. So Ghost Stories was
I don't think I'm old enough now. I don't think I'm old enough now to watch Wicked City. If I was to watch it again, I'd think, ooh, I need to be a much older person who's more mature to watch this. There's a lot going on here. I need an adult. Somebody tell me why was he able to suckle at that woman's breast and get poisoned with something? Like, that's such a weird scene, and that stuck with me for over 20 years of the grossest thing that's ever happened on a cartoon. And there's a lot of tentacly stuff, but the king of it all was the woman with the spider puss.
Yep.
The spider puss. Every 6 months or so, I'll tweet that GIF out, and it'll always get a pop from people. People can't stand that one because it's such a horrifying. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I think Black Bible is probably way worse.
That's an
I don't know if I've seen what's Black Bible.
That's Bible Black. That's
Bible Black. Yeah.
That's a porn though. Wicked City's not porn. It's just
it's just almost porn.
It was on Cinemax, and there was a lot going on.
It's basically it's like an exploitation film. It's like
Vampire
Hunter
violence. D was the one that really sold me on it. It's like, ooh, this is different from what's happening on TV every week on these other cartoons. This is very, very different. Because I had seen Dragon Ball, and we had it as the G-Force was the version that I had seen of Battle of the Planets. It had another name too, where they're like it's kind of like a Power Ranger-y Sentai gimmick, but they have wings and these big visors of birds.
Yeah, they got like 3 different localizations.
Yeah, there's another name.
G-Force.
Battle of the Planets, G-Force, and there was another one.
I don't remember the third one, but I know what you're talking about. That's the one that I think was actually like American made. It was like a newer one.
Oh.
And even the evil computer looked different. It looked because before
there was Voltron. Everybody knows Voltron.
Everybody knows Voltron.
In my generation, Transformers, another big anime.
Yeah.
Man, the Transformers song always upsets me with how they warp in English lyrics into it. The one thing I want to say good that I love about the One Piece 4Kids dub is that rap song. There's something very funny to me about an anime rap.
Well, Gatchaman
I
was the
love it.
original name.
Yeah, it was the
in
original
Japan.
name.
Gotcha,
I don't know what that
yeah.
third show was. I remember there was 3.
There were 3.
The
Yeah.
the One Piece rap has a line in there. Yo ho ho, Luffy ate the gum gum. Every time I hear that, that cracks me up because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Yo ho ho,
It's
Yo
cool.
ho ho, he ate the gum gum.
That whole One Piece opening, it's like I can't get through it. The cringe is too strong. It's too much secondhand embarrassment. I can't
they
make it.
didn't
It's
even
like a minute and a half. I
call,
can't make it.
They didn't even call the characters the right name.
Yeah, I hear the yayo. I gotta bail. I gotta pull the lever and just ejector sheet
yayo.
shoots me in the air.
Yo ho ho, Luffy ate the gum gum.
It's too bad. I don't know what was going through their heads. I can't believe other human beings were paid money and compensated financially to make that.
Why did they think it was for kids? How did they think? There's
Well,
the one guy that always has the cigarette in his mouth. That must have cost them a buttload of money to try to change it to a lollipop every single time.
There's like several stories around the acquisition of One Piece, but the general consensus of all these sort of secondhand stories and everything was that they didn't know what they were getting into, and they were sort of stuck after they got the license. Either there's just like tales that they like got it in a pack of shows, or that they got it because they heard this is the big new thing and they just saw the art style. But
so it's like a block booking kind of thing, like the old studio Hollywood system would do.
Yeah,
where they'll sell you, like, we got 8 pitches coming up, kid. You're gonna love them. 2 of them are gonna be blockbusters that you've never seen before, the most popular movies in the world, and the rest are all crap.
Yeah, that's the story from some of the 4Kids people that they got it in a pack of shows. That's, from what I understand, it's been many years, so my memory might.
Well,
be
they think Fighting Foodons was going to be their big hit. Like,
Well,
we got Fighting Foodons. Like, I guess we'll have to take this one.
A lot of their biggest properties on 4Kids were Shonen Jump. So I imagine what happened is they had some like agreement with Shueisha to license certain shows that were like big and popular. And of course, you know, like their big up and comer at the time was One Piece. Like everybody was like, yeah, this is like the coolest thing ever. And so I'm sure there was probably some sort of agreement or something where they had to like bring it over and dub it. And then they realized, oh, this is
I would love to
a little more
watch
adult
through it now, having watched so much of the One Piece. I got to the stuff with they had rival pirates who challenged them to games. And
then the
Davy
back fight. And the Foxy Pirates.
The Foxy Pirates, yeah. And then they do a lap around where it's like, actually, let's challenge them again. Let's do another lap around. That exhausted me. I was like, you got to be shitting me. They're doing more of these games? Another round of games for no reason?
Fact, that is anime-only filler. In the original manga, they only did the 3 games.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it. It felt like we're stretching this. We're doing another lap around on this. And then the next episode, after we pushed through that, next episode was an amnesia thing. If there's one piece of storytelling I hate more than anything else, it's an amnesia. Like I don't know anybody. Who are you guys?
Charles, I got the solution for you. If you want to check One Piece out for real, look up a little thing called...
I love One Piece. Piece, the stuff with the Shark Man. I think you go through that whole arc with the Shark Man.
Arlong arc, yeah.
Arlong, yeah. I couldn't remember think of his name. Because it's such... We'll go back to wrestling booking. Okay, you've got the biggest son of a bitch in the world there, who has been built up as a monster heel, who literally killed a woman, has done all the worst shit that a pirate can do, just an awful, awful villain who's whooped everybody, and he's meaner than all his buddies who are also mean.
Sounds like he's good at being a pirate.
Yeah.
Yes. And we put him up against the visual of the Rubber Man versus Knife Guy. I love that, like Knife Face Guy.
Yeah.
That's such a good gimmick. And that fight and the way it resolved, everything about that was so good.
You have no idea. Oda's only gotten better at that shit.
Oh.
I'm gonna make your life easier. There's a little thing called One Pace. It is a fan edit. It is a fan edit, and it is a very almost seamless fan edit.
Is that on Netflix? Can I just load that up on my
online.
PlayStation when I'm drowsy?
No, it's online. You find that shit. But what they did, they edited the anime and took out all the filler. They took out all the extra bullshit, and they kept it in line with only what's in the manga.
See, let's take it back to Dragon Ball, because I watched Dragon Ball Kai, and it was moving through the story so quickly. Well, where's the long shots of all the environments? Why is nobody having fun? Why are there no endless discussions of power? Every anime has people on the sidelines that talk about, oh, he's using this new technique. Oh, I can't believe it. What's he doing now?
Yeah,
they
and
always
thank
have to
God
have
that shit's gone.
And it's just gone in Dragon Ball Kai. I'm like, you've lost the essence of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I think you were confused of what the essence of Dragon Ball was. Like the best thing about Kai was that the fights were dragged on so long.
You lose Snake Way. You lose the Home for Infinite Losers. You lose.
That was hell.
Yeah.
Well, but
I love
some
that
folks
edit,
call
though.
it hell. I calls it a Kaiser Blade. All right, it was the Home for Infinite Losers when I watched it in the '90s, and it was great.
Just because you saw it as a kid doesn't mean it was good. Like that was the good thing about Kai is you watch it and it's like the fights were dragged on so long it's easy to forget. Oh yeah, Dragon Ball is kind of like built on its fucking characters.
Yeah.
And now that the fights are like normal length, those characters like get to be character, like the presence of the characters and their quirks and all this stuff just gets to be there as much as the fights do.
One thing that stuck out to me because we watched it like all afternoon one day was that they were able to call the guys the Z Fighters like pretty early on. I thought they did a little bit better job of, just here's all his buddies and then just move right along instead of having to show what's his face at the ball game, playing baseball. Like we just cut through all that nonsense. I thought that was a little better, but you're losing all those long environmental shots. I even like that episode where Vegeta and Nappa go to the bug planet and the bug people are in love and Vegeta just kills them all and doesn't give a fuck. I like that. It's filler and it's kind of dumb.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
The episodes where they go to where they're on their way to Namek and they get caught by space pirates, that they could do without. I thought that was dumb. There's I bet they even cut the part where Goku's dead and fights those guys in like Space Heaven or whatever he's in.
It was all anime filler.
Because it felt kind of superfluous. Did they get rid of Garlic Jr. in that edit?
Yeah, that was also.
See, I wouldn't have got rid of Garlic Jr. I would have kept that.
But it made no sense because the first Dragon Ball Z movie can't even be canon.
Right.
So how could Garlic Jr. come back? There's no room for him.
And here's the thing I hate too. I hate when you definitively whoop a bad guy. Like there's nothing better than, all right, he's in the dead zone, dude. It's the negative zone from Superman. This guy's gone. He's dead. He's gone. And then there's some schmozzy, stupid way of, well, actually, it turns out he had a twin brother. Some soap opera shit. Oh, the moon. It's the evil moon, or it was a planet or a moon or something. I can't recall.
I don't know.
It's been over 20 years.
This is why I said on Twitter, Dragon Ball's over. Because when Toriyama is not at the helm, man,
Dragon Quest might be over too.
Well, Dragon Quest will have to get a new art. They probably will. But it's going to be hard.
I assume Toriyama has a bunch of assistants and buddies that work with him. I would assume
I think the next Dragon Quest, they're probably just going to have to like go all in on just a new look.
No.
Because they're going to have to. Because otherwise, it's going to be like just trying to stave off the inevitable. Because
Who do they put in that position?
Well, you could go the Chrono route. Because what Chrono Cross did, it got a new artist, a different manga artist, instead of getting Toriyama back to give it its own identity. Because the idea was like it's a sequel to Chrono Trigger, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just like a new story with new ideas in the Chrono verse.
Because I would assume
the Chrono story, but in a different way. So Dragon Quest is going to have to do that by just get a new artist, and like Dragon Quest is going to have to adopt a new identity because Toriyama's gone.
I've got it.
We're just going to go all in.
I'm curious how much is done on Dragon Quest 12 because they've teased it out. He's
probably done his work already on that. So
yeah,
Dragon
he's
Quest
probably
done
done that. But
if anything, it's going to probably be the biggest selling Dragon Quest just because like this is Toriyama's last Dragon Quest.
Unless they already concepted out Dragon Quest 13, if they're that far ahead, then maybe they got some more gas in the tank.
I know who the spiritual successor on Dragon Quest could be. Ichiro Oda. Like it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's not even a joke. Or that's real. That would work perfectly.
I think that would be the greatest way to honor Toriyama's legacy on the series. And you still get that kind of slightly cartoony style with Oda.
It feels like a passing of the torch almost.
If that One Piece game based off of Dragon Quest game mechanics?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know if that exists. I'd play it.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
I'll tell you, like Oda really is this generation's Toriyama. Like he's very much that same kind of like his own unique footprint, his own like this guy knows what he's doing. Hell, he kind of is doing the. I mean, he's more planned out than Toriyama was, but he is very much at the seat of his pants thing because if you remember the interviews, Oda's talked about how he has sticky notes in his office of like on all his copies of the tankobons. He's like, remember this. And then he'll just, like, people say, oh my god, he planned this shit out for years. And he's like, no, I'd have forgot. I put up myself a note up on the wall because I figured this would be a good idea, bring that back later. Like, he will make a mystery box that he doesn't have the answers to, but then he reminds himself he did that. So when he needs a new twist, pull that back out.
Yeah, it's called One Piece World Seeker. It's made by Bandai. It's that same engine they used for the last Dragon Quest game.
It's called World Seeker?
Yeah, that came and went.
It was pretty fun.
Write that down. I'm gonna pull up my thing. World Seeker.
I should play that again. I got through a little bit of it. I played the demo, and I was like, oh man, I was gonna get this game, but then I like got super busy and just kind of forgot it existed. But it was a lot of fun.
See, this says it's an open world thing, is what I'm reading here.
It's an open world, but it's an RPG. So instead of
it's like Dragon Quest battles?
Yeah, it's like Dragon Quest style battles. But you get all the Straw Hats, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh man, I'm in.
Oh, I'm sorry. One Piece Odyssey, I think that's
Odyssey.
the one that's
Yeah. It's Odyssey.
One Piece Odyssey.
That's the one that's like... the other one's Bandai too, and I think they still use the same engine, but this one's way more closer to a traditional RPG kind of game.
It's a 2023 role-playing game.
Yep, that's it. Oh, it's like 50% off on Steam right now, too.
Well, that's gonna go... The problem is I've been playing Dragon Quest. I'm the kind of guy who has 5 things going on all at the same time, every day, all day. And I don't know. I really want to finish Dragon Quest 11. I've got the Steam thing now where I can play it just anytime. I was doing it on the laptop, and I'd hook it to the TV and play it. Now I can play anywhere I go, anything I'm doing, and just we'll play a few battles and move on. I love the Dragon Quest games so much. I think I might like them more than Final Fantasy.
See, I'm a Final Fantasy nerd.
I love Final Fantasy as well. I think the highs of Final Fantasy, it might have higher highs as far as deeper characterizations and storytelling, but I think Dragon Quest is more consistent, and the pathos and
you're right.
Storytelling in Dragon Quest, the scenarios, like the town to town storylines of Dragon Quest are so much better.
I think Final Fantasy
and Dragon Quest V,
the overarching story of each
Dragon
game.
Quest V, I think the stuff that goes on in that one, the sold into slavery, the turn to stone, all that stuff, and the way it plays out and how that works. This isn't a spoiler. These are promises of good content and storytelling.
And it's like, Rosebud was a sled kind of thing. Everybody knows by now.
Everybody knows that.
The way that stuff goes, it's so good. So well done. I loved it. I even love the gimmick. If we're really going to spoil the whole thing for people, the gimmick of you think you're the guy. Actually, it's the guy's son. He's the guy. I love that. I thought that was a great gimmick or twist, because you had that sword and you couldn't use it, the legendary sword, and the son could use it. So great.
The thing, I think, the difference between Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, it's more like Dragon Quest relies on very simplistic fantasy tropes and stuff, but it focuses more on the smaller minute-to-minute story beats.
Yeah.
Whereas Final Fantasy has a bigger focus on the overall, the epic sort of, like the overall greater story and setting.
Yeah.
And like Dragon Quest is like, there's legendary swords and the legendary hero that beats the Demon King. Whereas Final Fantasy tries to have a more like, I don't want to say creative. Because that feels like I'm dissing on Dragon Quest, but it doesn't just fall back on the Demon King versus the legendary hero. It's like, in this world
it's more of attacking and dethroning God.
Or
your Final
something
Fantasies.
like, or in it's like
you always
Final
fight
Fantasy
an evil
setting,
deity.
like the settings are usually more varied, and there's usually some. I mean, it kind of goes to a deity, but not really. There's only been like a couple games.
I would compare it to like making a quilt versus making a tapestry. It's like both require a lot of skill and attention to detail. But when you're making a quilt, like it's very like straightforward. You know, you have these patches and they do like this and that. With like a tapestry, you're filling it with a lot more detail. And I think that's the difference between the two. It's like Dragon Quest is like a quilt. Final Fantasy is a tapestry.
I tend to like the Final Fantasies where you get to make your guys your own a little more than the ones where it's like, well, this is all he can do and this is what he does, and you build your character that way. The materia stuff where you could have all your guys be, you know, specialized in different things.
Oh, you'd love Final Fantasy V if you haven't played it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Final Fantasy V where you have the jobs. Final Fantasy Tactics where you make your dudes your own and you have this army of killers. I could play through Tactics again today, and it would be as fresh as the last time I played it.
I feel like the only Final Fantasy fan kind of disappointed by Tactics because I go into these also. I'm from a big story standpoint. It's like I'm playing a great story. I see Final Fantasy, and Tactics' story falls the fuck apart because it's this big political epic and everything, and all it then boils down to is a bunch of demons are trying to resurrect a woman in a leotard.
See, but you're not looking at it through the Judeo-Christian lens because it's very much that one very much is like, well, there was a guy who had apostles, and they've become like the reality of this world is that they were actually a dark deity. I like that. I like that gimmick. That hit a lot better in 1999 than it does in 2024. In
well, that's before
the
fedora tipping, atheism plus crowd happened.
Yeah, it killed that gimmick. Like it's overexposed.
It's still. I'm just bitter because
Tactics Ogre. You might like Tactics Ogre more.
Tactics is just for so long. It was this intriguing personal and political drama that just becomes a fucking Ginyu force is trying to resurrect their demon queen.
A little bit.
With like their flat demon queen who's just has the goofiest design, and then that's it. Like that's what it all this human political drama amounts to. That
best Sid ever.
Oh yeah, there's great characters, great stuff in Tactics. Tactics is great until that last, I think it's like third, and it's just at that last third, it's just such a letdown.
See, I thought the Lucavi, I think is what they were called on the PlayStation.
Yeah, the Lucavi demons or whatever.
Yeah, it was. They weren't said out loud. I would love to see that storyline followed up. The Final Fantasy Advance did not do it for me the same way that Final Fantasy Tactics did. As soon as the game started up, it's kids playing in a snowball fight. This is not the war drama that I was expecting at all.
Isekai.
Yeah, it was a totally different flavor of anime, and my face instantly was like I sucked on a lemon and was not expecting a lemon. Like they slid a plate of shit under my nose, and I went, oh yes, fresh gourmet coffee. Let me inhale it as deeply as I can. And then I just got this big whiff of, oh my god, snowball fights.
That face from SpongeBob of the fish getting hit with the stinky smell, like.
Yeah, it hit through my whole body. Just was not into it at all, and I heard similar things about that the DS one, so I never even bothered.
Yeah,
Tactics Ogre, on the other hand, Tactics Ogre maybe went further than Final Fantasy Tactics did as far as a dark and at least an attempt at a more mature storyline. Like there's some stuff with early on with genocide, and that one you have some agency in. I like stories that have player agency, where you can decide, well, are you going to go with what the king told you to do and ethnic cleanse these people, or are you going to actually do the real hero thing and not kill these, because there were women and children like huddled after the battle, and you were told specifically you have to kill these people. So who do your loyalties lie to? Are you going to be this guy or that guy? Like that was a very hard, the modern video games there for a while. They had the Dark Jedi, the Dark Sith, and good guy lightsaber thing, where it would fill up with good guy points and bad guy points. That's a very clear Like, you go down this road, you're blowing up the town with a nuclear bomb. You go down this road, you have saved the town and are a hero. And I like that when it's presented well. And I thought Tactics Ogre did it, and you get a bird guy who completely can dominate the game.
Just shits on everybody.
Oh, I love the bird guy.
The other thing Tactics Ogre did too was every single person in the game can die and they're gone forever.
Yeah.
Like Tactics did that to some extent, but even they had
with
like
the jewel things, yeah.
It
was a little more. It's the difference between Dungeons and Dragons of the older editions and the newer editions. In new editions of Dungeons and Dragons, you have all these death saves. Anybody can just walk over and heal you, and you're fine. It's very much a Final Fantasy Tactics kind of death, where they have that crystal over their head and their turns are counting down. Like, you can save somebody pretty easily.
Yeah.
In old editions of Dungeons and Dragons, you go to 0, you are fucking dead. You are gone, my man. So long, sucker. Do not pass go. Do not
burn
collect
the character
$200.
sheet.
Yeah, rip the character sheet. Dead.
Yeah. I don't know. I never played Tactics Ogre. I kind
It's
of
good.
reliving my that moment playing Final Fantasy Tactics where I'm like, this is just a monster hunt now.
Yeah, I could see how that would turn somebody off.
I'm fine with a monster hunt if you set up
storyline-
that's the kind of game it is. Like, my favorite Final Fantasy is 5, and that's the goofy, silly one. That's why it's my favorite. It's not even
I
the job.
love it. The
I love the
pirate
job
girl
system.
who presents themselves as a guy early on, and then there's like
'cause-
the big reveal.
Yeah.
The one
reveal
guy
is
dies and his
hilarious, by the
daughter
way.
takes over as the character
Yep.
and has all their levels.
Yep.
I loved building my guys out and doing them.
Like,
I
the
even played
job
through it
system is
again,
fun
trying to
in
do-
5. The job system's fun in 5, but that's not even, in my opinion, the best part of it. The best part is the fact that it's you think of Final Fantasy, you have this idea in your head, especially people that got into it from the PS1 days of, like, pretty people and very dramatic and, killing God. But Final Fantasy 5 is the Saturday morning cartoon Final Fantasy, and I fucking love it for that. But it still has, like, it still has stakes. It's not
You
a
still
parody.
fight God at the end. You still fight
you
an
don't.
evil
You fight
deity.
the
a
demon
dude
tree.
made of a million demons.
Yeah, what were they called? X-Death?
He is hands down. You get me started, I'll be here for an hour. He is the best Final Fantasy villain. He's the best because all the Final Fantasy villains, like, you think, like, everybody loves Emmett Selk from 14, right? Emmett Selk, he's got all this tragic reasoning, whatever. X-Death goes so hard in the paint with being just evil and loving being evil.
Arch.
He is the kind of guy that would call Emmett Selk a pussy and then piss on his dead friends. Like, the best example is when X-Death has the heroes trapped with the crystals, and then Kryl, Galf's granddaughter, comes in to save them. And she hits X-Death with Magic Blast, knocks him down. She's like, "Grandpa, I'm here to save you." X-Death gets up. Now, any other villain in any JRPG, what do they do? Like, they blast the little girl, knock her down. Ah, she gets to go flying. Like, no, Kryl! That's not what X-Death does, because that's what pussies do. X-Death puts this little girl in a of evil, and then methodically, for an extended period of time, slams this little girl against every single wall in the room, and then drops
it's very
her.
Arch, very Magneto-esque, like it's just evil.
His first line is to laugh at his own joke, because he's such a fucking ham. He's like, "Galuf, it's good to see you again, because that means I'm free." Like, he doesn't chew the scenery. He goes full Pac-Man on it. Every scene he's in is entertaining. He has a Dragon Ball Z fight with a turtle.
I would love to see them remake those games in a 3D engine and do new stuff with them. But there's part of me that's like, no, just leave it alone. It is as good as it is there. Because they did some remakes. They did these iOS remakes that looked terrible.
Oh, where they like did
bad, the menus
they
looked
did
bad.
the updated art, and it didn't.
They did.
Look good.
It looked like RPG Maker.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, they did an update on Romancing Saga as well, and I'm glad that those are out officially in English and people can buy them and play them. Like, that's great. But those menus, those menus look bad.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, there's some bad in there too.
Well, luckily we got the pixel remasters. Like,
they did these pixel remasters that look a lot better. I don't know if I want to do another lap around them though. I think my time with those games are done. But I'm glad that other people can pick them up now, and that there's a good version for people to play.
It's if you want to play like Final Fantasy V, which I would highly recommend. It has like the best
so
gameplay,
good.
best characters.
It's the best.
It's funny. The best localization. If you want to play 5, the Pixel remasters are like the easiest, best way. If you can get the GBA version, that is the peak.
Oh, you're talking about
There
Final
were
Fantasy
more jobs,
Advance?
I think, on the GBA, weren't
Yeah, they added like a whole
there?
new
There's a
post
Cannonball
game.
guy, I think.
Yeah, Cannoneer, and then they added like
Cannoneer.
Necromancer.
And
So
a
they added
Necromancer,
jobs, and they
okay.
gave like a post-game dungeon for like if you, because Final Fantasy V is a game you could really break. So
Yeah.
the
Well, that's
GBA version,
the fun of it. That's the
yeah, but
fun of that game.
the GBA version gave you something to use your broken shit against, like that whole secret optional dungeon. It's made for people that broke the game.
I
So
love
it's
a
like-
super boss. I love a super
Yeah.
boss in these games. Like, give me that. Give me the sumbitch. The first big one that everybody remembers is the weapons in Final Fantasy VII. I think were the ones that
But 5 was the first one that did it with
Five
Omega
was the
and
first one
Shinryu.
that did it. They
Yeah.
had that machine guy.
Omega and Shinryu, is 2 of them.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I love a super boss. Let me make a team of killers that will absolutely, against all the other enemies in the game, they'll just trounce them, just completely pants them. But against this one guy, I've got to have a very specific strategy that is ultimately stupid. Like the way I beat the Ruby weapon in Final Fantasy VII, you could set up a thing where every time you killed your guys, they would use a materia. And so I had where they would die, I would have my guys attack my own guys to kill them. And then they would use their materia thing. And one guy had the thing that would summon, that would heal up the other guys, would revive them, the Phoenix. And then the other guy would do the super boss Knights of the Round thing and do all this damage to them. It was so much fun coming up with this weird strategy. I love that. I love the crazy strategies and stupid ideas these games will let you do. And Akira Toriyama being gone is sad.
Looks like
day for him.
you can exploit Emerald Weapon by just having 2 materia on Cloud, because when he does his Air Tam Storm, it does exactly the amount of damage of materia that you have times 1111. So like it does 2,222 damage, which puts you down to 7,777. Whoops! Lucky Sevens activate. Slap, 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 slap. Oh wait, Emerald Weapon's dead. Okay, there we go. Mission problem solved. Problem staying solved.
I'm trying to remember. There's a materia you can get that will take away the timer on him.
Underwater materia. You have to
yeah,
morph.
the timer was the
ghost
thing
ship,
that
I
made
think.
him a really difficult. I remember him not being particularly difficult.
I don't
other
think
than
you
the
can beat
timer.
the timer. I think because he has too much health. I don't think, unless you like really cheat like what Gator was describing, I don't think normally you can beat him with the timer still there. Like you
I
need
would
the
love to, if I had the time of a young man, if I had that time and could just sit there and make. It would be more fun to use a Game Shark to just get the team of killers. Now I think that'd be my move, but then I'd feel hollow because I didn't earn it.
Yeah, I mean it
What's
depends
better?
on like
Am
what
I
you,
going
what
to
you
be
want
the angry video game nerd who sits there all day and it's like, all right, I've had to farm out health on Metroid and now I can go and finish the game, or be the guy who just types in the code and gets the health back? What feels better? What feels better?
Folks say like, I don't have the time anymore, right?
I'm out of time.
But here's the thing, you do.
I do. I can
Because
make time.
you're still playing games.
Yeah.
It's just like there's
a
something,
lot of games to play.
There's something that gets in your mind. I think it's when you get older.
Mhm.
And it's not like, oh, I'm too old. Nah. It's once you get the ability to get any game you want at any time you want, games feel longer because you just want to go to that next one. Like you start, like once you become
I'm 90
a man,
hours into Dragon Quest 11, and I do not think I am. If I played this every day for the next year, I would not finish this game.
once you become a man with your own disposable income, long games start to lose their appeal, not because you don't have the time, because you do. It's because now, like before, when that was your game you got from your parents, from your
It was
birthday
the
or
one
whatever,
game.
that was your one game. So when it was long, that was good. But now, every game in existence is your game now because you have disposable income. So it gets to the point like, do I want to still play this 100 hours later? Because this came out and this came out. I want to try this. I want to try this. The world is your oyster now.
Yeah, I feel like that's my problem. That's why I like the Xbox Pass, whatever it's the Xbox Game Pass, because I can sample a little bit of everything and try out stuff and see what's good. I played through the I made time for that Yakuza one. I'm in like the last chapter, the one that's in the modern day Japan, where you play as a different guy from Kiryu, and it's a JRPG like a Dragon Quest game.
You're talking about like
it's got its job system,
Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Hell yeah!
I think it's 7 is Like a Dragon. I think that's the one. There's
Is it the one with the guy with the crazy hair?
He's got the crazy hair. They live in a whorehouse at one point on mattresses that have stains on them, and the other guy's like, I don't think this stain is not what I hope it's not. And they're so happy to have a place to live because they've been living as bums. And then you become a super billionaire. There's a mini game that you could play and become a super billionaire who's the face of a corporation. I love where that game has gone and the trajectory it seems to be on for that final arc of like the theme of brothers and fathers and who's your guy. I love those twists and turns of those Yakuza games. I love that people are now into them as much as I'm into them. The picking up Yakuza 2 just on a lark. To take it back to GameStop, the guy at GameStop told us that it was Grand Theft Auto in Japan. And so I'll pick it up, $20. Like, we'll give it a shot. And I go to play it, and you start off in the graveyard, and it plays through these movies of the story of the previous game. I sat there for however long it was, like an hour, 2 hours, just captured my imagination. It was so good. And then the actual game is River City Ransom. Like, it was a River City Ransom game. I could not sing the praises of Yakuza 2 enough. When Yakuza 3 came out, I was there day one. Yakuza 4, day one. The one with the zombies, got that one day one. And at some point there, the time just became an issue of, I don't know if I can sit here and play this, and because I'm balancing so many plates, and that was before I really got into meme world. Because memes are always going, and to be up on what's trending and know everything everybody's doing everywhere at all times.
You have to scroll through your phone all day. You have to put down the pornography for a second and scroll through memes.
Yeah.
It sucks, bruh.
Yeah, I can't spend my time looking at all these
I wish I
muscle
could
studs.
just beat my meat and play video games all day.
Why can't I look at muscle
through my
guys?
phone and look at memes that are 10 years old and repost them. Fuck my life. Holy shit.
Oh, listen, we've posted ones that are well over 10 years old, Spooky, and you know it.
Grandpappy.
I love busting out the oh really owl, the long cat. Long cat will forever be the best.
But yeah, no, Yakuza games, they're like they're literally like dramedies. They're like several decades old dramedies.
That's the right word for it. They have this there was a bunch of movies in the 90s that were like this where they had a lot of the same kind of themes of brothers and family and honor and Yakuza gangs. What was oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of it, where the one guy was a cop and the other guy was like a hitman, and they become buddies. It was a weird movie, but it was so cool. It was a John Woo movie, and the end of that movie where they're having this big shootout in a church, and they just blow up everything in this church.
Was that like the one with the black comic in it? Is it Eddie Murphy?
No. Eddie Murphy was not in this movie. This was a Hong Kong action flick. Back
Chinatown?
It wasn't Chinatown. I think it was called The Killers or something like that.
Yeah, it's The Killer.
The Killer. Oh man, that's a good movie. When watching that movie feels very much like what Yakuza is going for. That vibe of here's this crazy. There's all sorts of crazy combats, and there's also this storyline with all these different characters who all have different relationships with one another.
It does feel like a movie from like the 70s or 80s, like
Yeah,
70s comedy movie, like dramedy.
Yeah.
Modern era.
I gotta be the controversial guy here.
You don't like it.
It's been a little too much agreeable shit. I can't vibe with Yakuza, and there's this very specific reason I can't vibe with Yakuza. I can't
You're
shake
so
it.
autistic. Holy shit.
No, I
didn't
can't
like
shake
River
it.
City Ransom as a kid?
No. It's not like because Sega back in the day was Yakuza connected.
Back in the day, my man, I don't think that's back in the day. I think Sega and Konami and all these other game companies in Japan, even Nintendo, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if these guys
there's no,
had
bro. I'm telling. There's no. I would not be surprised. I'm telling you exactly facts.
The Mafia doesn't exist.
Nintendo was not Yakuza connected. If anything, they were the only company that wasn't Yakuza connected. But Sega was deeply Yakuza connected.
And they own the health clubs, right? Like who owns health clubs in Japan?
Well, dude, the Yakuza are pretty much dead now. Like they don't really exist anymore. They're kind of there.
The Mafia doesn't exist.
No, it's not a joke. This isn't. I'm not memeing here.
I'm not making a joke.
The
Mafia doesn't exist.
There's no the Yakuza are dead now. But like in the '90s and like through the 2000s, like and especially when they were making Yakuza, Sega was owned by Yakuza, and they were involved. Sega was specifically involved in some pretty shady shit, including like kidnappings and shit. So there's just something I can't get past it on a personal level.
It makes it more authentic.
So you think of it.
But this game that are making these Yakuza guys like cool and funny and honorable, but at the same time, like, bro, but your company had a girl kidnapped. I can't.
I mean, like, you can compare it to any other CEO-ran company. If it's
but we can make the generalization.
I don't
Let's
see
talk
the
about what
difference, to be
Apple's
honest.
done to people. Let's talk about what Nestle's doing down south in South America.
But Nestle didn't make a video game series about how cool, like,
they just make chocolate with a cute rabbit selling the chocolate.
But again, they're not making... Their chocolate bunny isn't like depicted as being in the cocoa plants, and isn't it great to be one of these people?
No, he plays basketball because he's black.
No, Spooky, are you slow? Are you just trying to get a zinger in? Like
Spooky with that zinger.
The point I'm making here
I
is
love
that
a
it's a
podcast
game.
sniper. That's
It's
such
a
a great
game
position to be in.
About how
jump in with a zinger.
About how cool the Yakuza is by people that were Yakuza connected and directly did some very heinous shit. So like I'm not saying if you play Yakuza you're bad. I'm not judging anybody. I am saying on a personal level, I just can never look past it because I see like look how cool Kiryu Kazuma is or whatever. Yeah. And all I can think is that but you were connected. It's
I
like
still watch
Ren
and Stimpy. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
It's like if
I don't give a shit. All right, you're never gonna take Ren and Stimpy away from me.
It's like if the guy that made The Godfather.
I don't give a shit if Vince McMahon physically shit on a woman, okay?
It's not
just
they
don't want me to like Yakuza so much.
They
should have made them a bunch of sexy men. That's what I got.
You're trying to jump to a fucking point. You're missing mine. Hold your goddamn horses for a second.
Very bad stuff. Like
you are missing
Jimmy Snuka.
Okay, you're missing my point.
But he's Superfly Jimmy Snuka. When he gets hit in the head with that coconut.
You're missing my point here.
You see how rippled those abs are? You could have like washed your clothes on them. Like that shit, it's like a husbando off in those.
Y'all have some Twitter media literacy right now. Pay attention.
So you're saying I'm a journalist right now?
Yeah, pretty much. Sega making Yakuza.
God, we haven't even got into the game journalist stuff, have we?
Nope.
Sega making Yakuza is of like a company that was connected to the mafia and had a guy killed, made a game about the mafia that made the mafia look cool.
Let me tell you about a movie called The Godfather.
Yeah, was he mafia connected? Well, first of all, The Godfather did not make the mafia look really good. Like, the Godfather did not make the mafia look like a bunch of cool guys that go out dancing and have cool one-liners and beat people up with their bare hands.
They tried to. They're making Michael Corleone and Vito Corleone. I don't want to sell drugs. I don't like it. It's no good.
Well, I don't want it. A lot of real mafia guys had issues with drugs. Like that's. Yeah. I'm saying if The Godfather made the Corleones look like supermen with like cool shonen one-liners and shit, and then it turns out like Coppola was like connected to the mafia and had a guy killed.
Mafia doesn't exist.
Okay, whatever. The point is like that. Like if they had a guy kidnapped, and then made the guys that kidnapped somebody look like cool Supermen, it's not.
All right.
And look,
So the
look,
final
Cody. All I'm
question.
saying is I'm completely blackpilled when it comes to like media made by awful people propagandizing their shit. Like that's just how it is for most countries, right? Like it's run by evil corporations, and they're like propagandizing shit. Like look at what American history has done. Like Bugs Bunny used to like propagandize war. Like it's just like
One
I
little,
don't
two
know,
little,
man.
three little
Like I
Indians.
don't really give a shit. It's a good,
War
there's a good game
propaganda
series.
and making and like Yakuza wouldn't even be. I wouldn't even have this issue with Yakuza, even if nothing about the game was changed. If Sega wasn't involved with the Yakuza and didn't have like the shit done that they did.
I loved it. I love Yakuza games. I don't give a shit what Sega did. Sega could have kidnapped a woman.
Sega could have
they
fucked
literally
my
did.
wife and killed my daughter.
They literally
God damn
did.
it, good game.
They had a developer's daughter. I think it was his daughter or wife, something kidnapped. Well, it wasn't Sega. It was the Yakuza connected to Sega. They did it
Yeah.
for Sega because it was a guy that left Sega. I think he was going to Nintendo.
Yeah.
And he had, I don't know if he had like game secrets or some kind of shit. Sega didn't want to lose, so they had woman connected to him kidnapped.
Yeah, Sega made their bed. Like they had some really down years.
I just feel like Sega is not the company to make that game. Sega shouldn't be making that game. If anybody
That's
else
fine.
made that game, it'd be cool. I'd probably play it. But the fact
But
that
nobody
Sega
else
made that game,
nobody else could make that game. Nobody else
I mean,
knows
the
the
whole
Yakuza
point
that
of it
well.
was the director got in complete contact with the Yakuza. They were able to tell him stories. That's how he's able to base the whole story after actual Yakuza stories. Like that's the only way it could have been made.
you can do that for a developer that wasn't Yakuza connected that deeply.
Yeah, shortcuts,
just-
man. It's
Yeah,
already
but-
there.
but-
You're already your employees, so you just why not interview them?
It's like you weren't the one to. You weren't the one to tell this story. You shouldn't have been the one. It's not that the story was bad. It's not that the content's bad. And again, I'm not saying if you like Yakuza, you're bad. No, on a personal me level, I just can't
Morally.
get past. I just can't look past that it's Sega that made it, and
Why
it
not?
just feels.
Just do it. Just play it.
No, I can't, man. It's.
I mean,
fucking-
like, how many times have we seen like World War II like movies made by great directors, but their best friend's like a fucking sex pest, and the sex
But it
pest gives
doesn't
money
matter.
for the War
It's-
II movie?
It doesn't
It-
fucking matter. You're just equating bad people make things. No,
They
I'm
do.
talking about. But you're too internet brained right now. Dial that back a sec. Follow me here. It's not like, oh well, this World War II director had a friend that was a sex pest. No, that would be like if that World War II director had a friend that committed war atrocities in World War II. Then it would be a little something different. Just
There's been
because
some
bad
movies
people
like
make things is
that.
not the issue I'm taking here.
Audie Murphy got to play himself in his own movie, his own biopic about the war.
Yeah,
I'm curious if the real
and we
events-
look back on a lot of that stuff too, and we laugh at it too. Like a lot
I'm curious
of the war
if the real
propaganda.
events of what Audie Murphy was involved in were as heroic as what's depicted in the film. Maybe they were.
Well, actually, they were.
Maybe.
He's kind of.
He's
Like-
kind of the guy.
Yeah, like he's. There's a
G.I.
reason
Joe,
Sabaton
the
made a song
guy.
about him. He really was. It's a kind of absurd. Like there's a
Like
reason
him and
Sabaton made a
Sergeant
song
York
about
is
him.
like who the guy is.
No, if you want to see the guy is Sabaton's song to Hell and Back. Like this is a dude. This is a dude that like there.
I
It
just
is
found out
on
they have
record.
their own YouTube channel that's a history channel.
Yeah, this is a dude that's
Those
like on
bozos.
record. On record as like having a moment where he dropped one-liners and shit. Like Audie Murphy is actually kind of insane.
And the fact that he plays himself in the movie, that he went on to become a movie star
Yeah.
based off playing himself in his own
Yeah.
movie.
Audie Murphy is like
Not
you
a lot of
can't-
guys that were war heroes that done that.
You can't make Audie Murphy is like that. What would go on to become like a Chuck Norris joke? Like the idea of this
Yeah.
guy is like the Giga Chad that just wins every situation. That was Audie Murphy in real life. Like his list of
So
accomplishments
Akira
is kind of insane.
Toriyama is dead.
Yeah.
Past that at this point.
Akira Toriyama is dead.
What is the legacy of Akira Toriyama? I'll send it to you, Spooky.
I think that he made like a really popular anime one time. Or is it
One
manga?
time?
One or two times.
I think he did it at least 3 times. Like
I think
Dr.
Mexico
Slump.
looks at him like he's a god because they think. I know black people like it because Piccolo is basically their dad when their dad wasn't actually there because they love cartoons and shit. They love that shit.
I don't know if I'd say that.
You never
It's not
heard of
even-
that joke before?
Yeah, I've
But
heard
it's
that
not,
before.
Yeah, but it's like most of them. Most of the
Funny.
folks. Most folks don't even. I mean, yeah, Piccolo, the joke that he's black, but I mean, he's not even the most popular character. Like, genuinely, the reason I think Dragon Ball is big in with black folks and Mexicans and a lot of poor countries, Latin America and all that, because I grew up around Baltimore, so I kind of saw this.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball always had this.
like.
Dragon Ball had this running theme that you could bust your ass and you could start from nothing and be a god,
be a hero.
Yeah, Dragon Ball, the whole thing is the villains in Dragon Ball always have everything handed to them, or they steal what they have. Whereas Goku and them, they train, they bust their ass, and the show follows that. You see him get his ass kicked by Frieza Cell, and puts in the work, and then he comes out looking badass. He's got that Akira Toriyama serious face, and
they go to the time chamber.
There are very few. Yeah,
he does it as a boy, and then they go back to it as an adult.
Yeah, and that Akira Toriyama serious face. There's very few
hyperbolic time chamber
faces.
The hyperbolic time chamber.
Or the Room of Spirit
in Time. Such a stupid, fun gimmick.
Or the Room of Spirit in Time, if you're, not using the.
All right, you guys are more anime guys than I am. I like anime, but you guys live anime. What is Mr. Popo? Is he a demon? Is he a genie? Is he an otherworldly being? Is he an alien?
Supposed to be an unknown magic guy.
He's a being from some other realm. I asked ChatGPT and they couldn't figure it out.
I think he's supposed to be
a genie.
There's a particular demon that he's supposed to be in Japanese folklore. I can't remember. Yeah, based on. I can't remember.
It's a Buddhist deity kind of thing.
Interesting.
That's what he's based on. But because the idea is when that lookout, that's supposed to be heaven, and Kami God. He was originally God.
Right. Yeah.
So he's supposed to be just a magical being.
Because they go there, they go to Kami's place in Dragon Ball. That was where they meet the witch and they fight those guys, and he meets his granddad, right? That sounds right.
That was something different. That was a different part of the story where you met.
I'm trying to remember why they went to Kami in the anime.
Well, that was because of Piccolo. That was because they had to go.
I think it was before Piccolo. I think Piccolo hadn't shown up yet.
I mean, I haven't seen OG Dragon Ball in a while because I'm just going to say it. I know a lot of hipsters like to pretend that the old Dragon Ball was better than Z. No, it wasn't. There is a very good reason the Z era is the one that influenced everything.
Z is the one
very good reason. That is.
When I was a kid, they had a dub of Dragon Ball that aired maybe 10 times, where Bulma was Goku's sister. Oh, it was so goofy and weird. And it would air at 5:30 in the morning. And it just captured my imagination as a little kid. And Dragon Ball will forever be this important thing in my life that has consistently come back up. And the design of it, the storytelling, there's a lot going on there that's not just your average cartoon.
The character designs, man. Okay, I don't...
You can clearly tell who your good guy and bad guys are.
Yeah, but isn't it, a little criticism of Toriyama, his human designs are kind of samey a little bit. But, man, when he was going off of humans, and especially a lot of those villains...
The creatures.
Yeah, oh my god. There was,
you see the android, the big fat bastard.
Or
it has a weird baby face.
Cell.
Yeah, you look at the different
one of the best character designs I've ever seen.
The biological
one of the best
monster.
character designs I've ever seen. Yeah, one of the best character designs ever for a villain is Perfect Cell. That's just, you just spend hours breaking out, look, this little bit of him is perfect, and this little bit of him is great, and this gives him this presence and menace. Yeah, this presence and menace and style, and aptly named Perfect Cell. Just the designs this guy came up with, and the fact that the final boss of the manga was a magic bubblegum demon.
Yeah.
What other shonen would have its final ultimate opponent, before obviously it continued when it came back, but for a while, that was the end boss, the magic bubblegum demon. Not, you think of something like Naruto or something like a lot of these other shonen and how they end with the big end boss. And Dragon Ball said, nah, we're going back to our roots. Shit's getting a little maybe too serious. We need to bring back a silly fucking shit, but it's also got menace. So here comes the bubblegum demon with a little tentacle on top of his head that turns you into candy, and he makes tea kettle noises when he's mad. And there's your final boss, and he fucking made it work, man.
Yeah.
He sold that shit.
He made him into a monster heel who is just this awful ultimate evil.
And I do enjoy the subversion that in the final fight, nobody was in their final ultimate form. Kid Buu, he's a true Buu, but he's called Kid Buu.
Yeah,
he's
whatever.
He's actually weaker than Gohan Buu, but no, they can't fuse anymore. All they're the best they got is Goku still able to do Super Saiyan 3, but everybody's not at their peak, because every other arc, you had the bad guy in his strongest form, the good guy in his strongest form, and one overcame the other. Nobody's in their strongest form. It's just a desperate, this Buu is completely unhinged now. He's not at his strongest, but all of his reason is gone. Everything that might have held him back mentally is gone, and he's just a wild animal. And it's the desperate attempt to beat a wild animal who biologically you can't just beat up, because he's bubblegummy and he regenerates. So even if he's not as strong as he was, it doesn't matter, because he's just this unstoppable force that just won't sit down. He won't go down. And just the desperation of the heroes with what little reserves they have left, having to put down this wild little gremlin, and that is the big epic finale. I fucking love it. And
you know what I like about
Shonen
the
that's
last
done something like
arc?
that since.
You know what I like? There's a scene where he starts gathering up the energy for the big spirit bomb at the end of Dragon Ball. And the final one that's got to fight Kid Buu. He needs all the energy of the world. And it shows all the people all over the world raising up their hands. And there's cuts to that Frankenstein guy and characters, the one with the little white hat.
Yeah.
Characters we haven't seen the whole show.
Yeah.
They all put their hands up, and it's fun to see there's that guy. It was fun to have that final moment.
Mm-hmm.
I love that so much.
Yes,
I love
yeah,
seeing that Frankenstein monster again.
Yeah, number 8, yeah.
Yeah, number 8.
Yeah.
He'll forever be the Frankenstein monster. I'll never remember that. I love that. I love that they have the long callbacks to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Such a great cartoon, and Akira Toriyama will be missed. We speak his name with honor and respect.
I just gotta say,
I put him in meme heaven either way.
Thank God for that janky Korean MMO Dragon Ball Online. Because for those who don't know, Toriyama was involved in that. And for that, the MMO was supposed to take place all the way after all of Dragon Ball happened. So Toriyama wrote a definitive conclusion to the Dragon Ball story for that MMO, and it's canon. So we do have a resolution to Dragon Ball thanks to that MMO.
Like Goku's death.
Yeah, so here's the bullet points. Goku and Vegeta had their big final let's settle this once and for all fight, because Saiyans, they stop aging once they hit a certain point, and then they start aging again after several decades. So Goku and Vegeta realized they were going to start aging again soon. They were going to be out of their prime. So they it's now or never. We have to have our big final settle everything fight. So they went out into space to have their big all-out brawl, and both of them died. We will never know who won. All we know is whoever did win barely won and died shortly after.
That's good. I like that. I could see that as an ending.
Yeah, and the only clue to what even happened in that fight to anyone else is that from Earth there was spotted the creation of a supernova, which is thought to be caused by their fight. So Goku and Vegeta both died from their final battle, and we don't know which one won.
And so they become like deities, with doing some sort of Big Bang. Interesting.
Basically. Gohan becomes a scholar and writes a book on ki, and basically teaches the world how to use ki. So in the future now, literally everyone, even the basic bitch civilian, even the farmer knows how to fly and do energy.
Oh, see, that's
wow.
The thing I don't like about Dragon Ball Z compared to Dragon Ball is that early power scaling. Everybody, all the heroes can all fly now. Everybody, I don't remember if they could do it at the end of Dragon Ball, but man, it just feels like we've hit a this ever up that arcing of power.
I was saying earlier, that's a super fixed. with introduction of all this stuff and like gods and stuff and the alternate universes and that.
I gotta check it out. I know it's good. I know people like it. I've seen the Goku Black memes. I've seen.
That's the best, hands down.
The big guy. There's like a big guy that Goku fights who has like big ears.
I mean, that's a shitload of them. But
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now.
That describes a lot of enemies.
I'm gonna tell you right now. That Goku Black saga, I shit you not, best saga in the franchise. Best fucking shit in Dragon Ball.
Because when I was a kid and they first played the stuff where Goku, after his brother shows up and he gets killed, and he's riding the Snake Way, and it's all about the prepare. We got to fight this new guy who's coming, and they're even worse. That whole storyline of fighting Vegeta and Nappa, thought that was so good, so great.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
The continuation of Dragon Ball thing, I haven't even gotten to the best part. So you know about the Majin race that's in like Xenoverse and stuff. Xenoverse, by the way, for those who don't know, is basically an adaptation of Dragon Ball Online. Like they're adapting Dragon Ball Online story. So like the Supreme Kai of Time, the Time Breakers, the Toriyamas, those are all canon.
Oh my god, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's basically they're just adapting online story, but with all this like, reliving past moments gimmick. But all that stuff, like the overall story, like that's not canon, but the overall stuff with the Supreme Kai of Time, Toa and Mira and Fu, all those guys, those events are canon. So the last two things, Cell comes back. So this is why people say they should bring back Cell like they did Frieza. This is why they wouldn't, and they kind of halfway did with Cell Max and Superhero. Cell does come back in the online period, and he basically becomes like an alien queen type thing. Like there's an entire race of Cell creatures.
He's got baby cells.
If you look up Cell X,
that's fun. I like that.
That's Cell. So there's and it's like.
I am a mama now, Goku.
Yeah, there was like a whole. Imagine an army of all of Cell's forms in different colors.
Good.
That's like
fun.
the Cell race that comes up because Cell comes back and like as a progenitor, and he's like this huge monster thing. It's awesome as shit.
I'll have to check that.
But the best part is Boo, and the Majin race. Do you know how the Majin race comes to be? Because again, the Majin race is canon, completely Toriyama canon.
Where do they come from? Because
Fat Boo found one of Mr. Satan's porno magazines. And he saw the naked ladies, and he's like, I like this. I wish I had my own naked ladies. So through Boo magic, he sort of asexually spawns himself a girlfriend, and they become the Adam and Eve of the Majin race.
Oh my.
Do you know what the first female Majin's name is?
I can see why they would bury this in a video game.
It's the first female Majin's name was B.
Booby?
Booby. And together, Boo and Booby birthed the Majin race. And that is why, canonically, all the Majin men are big and fat, and all the Majin women are hot. It is a canon element to the Majin race that
like
every single Majin female are hot because they are born from porn.
I love it. That's great. That's good.
He just like me, for real.
So that is how Dragon Ball ends.
Man, that Dragon Ball ended. That's pretty cool, man.
That's how it ends. Goku and Vegeta settled it. Is might be a draw, or someone barely won. Gohan taught the world to use ki.
The pink.
Cell comes back as an alien queen, and Boo.
He just seen that magazine, man.
His own GF and birthed a race.
My very own clone. Now neither of us will be virgins.
Literally canon. Dragon Ball canon.
Wow, I love that. I love how in the weeds, like deep lore like that. That's the sort of thing that definitely should be buried in a video game because my god, that's crazy.
And the best thing is, like,
that's funny.
It's not like, oh, he just made it for this game, and now that he brought Dragon Ball back, he's doing his own thing. As Dragon Ball like Super goes on and on other media, he hints to the stuff in online. Like it's clear that shit is still like he's still like, yep, that is. I have decided that's what's going to happen. Like in the Future Trunks arc, when we see the Supreme Kais have these time rings.
Oh yeah.
They have this like X.
Do they put them together like
Infinity.
the Simpsons, the boy and the girl, and blow into them?
No, it's like rings for each timeline. They actually go into the timeline shit from the
I
Cell
don't
Saga.
cook, I don't clean, but let me show you how I got this ring.
They go into like the timeline shit from the Cell Saga and expand on it, and there's like a ring for every timeline. And they got this Infinity X emblem, and that's right from Toa and Mira in Online and Xenoverse. So it's like, oh, okay, he's revealing in his lore that's the symbol for time. So like that's like there's all these little things that he's like, no, that's still gonna happen. I didn't forget. That's still canon. So yeah, if you want to know how Dragon Ball ends, look up the story Dragon Ball Online, because that is, and hopefully we get like a Xenoverse 3 that goes into more of the online stuff, because I really, really want a Xenoverse 3 that goes into the Cell invasion so fucking bad.
Yeah, that sounds like my kind of dumb.
I want the Cell X shit. So you have no idea. Everybody listening, look up Cell X. That's what's everyone's like. I want Cell to come back. He did. There he is. That's how he comes back.
Yeah, that'll be my takeaway from it. The homework I would give people would be to, as far as Toriyama stuff, I really think, God, like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are so good, so much fun. I don't know what I would tell people to go watch if they never watched any. Maybe one of the movies, but I don't know. I feel like the series would probably be the way to go.
I will say that like the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie was like the dopest shit ever. Like
yes,
I watched that movie in theaters and I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking awesome.
I'll have to make time for that one.
They even had callbacks.
That first one.
They even had callbacks to like previous movies and stuff. It was really good.
Oh,
God,
interesting.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I posted in the Restream chat. There's Cell X, so that's how Cell comes back.
All right, let's take a look at Cell X. I'll for the listeners at home, I'll take a look at Restream chat.
Well,
oh my god, he is the alien queen. Like he's got 4 legs and a big alien ass, like he's going to birth out some babies.
Yeah.
Hello, Goku. I am now Queen Cell.
I am a mommy.
I am a mommy, Goku.
Would you like to meet my kids?
God, that's disturbing looking. Like his feet are so. Ugh. He's got banana toes.
So if you ever, everybody listening now, you got some.
The
extra
only
beats on
good
your
bug
friends.
is a dead bug.
if you ever hear your friends like, man, they brought back Frieza, they brought back Boo. I hope they bring back Cell. Well, now you know. Well, guess what, friend? They did.
Yeah, I don't know if I
did.
That's the one thing that's going to keep.
And
me
he's
from
got
watching.
a thick.
I don't think I'm emotionally able to take a Frieza face turn. I don't think I'd like.
He doesn't.
He's still a piece of shit.
No, that's the best part. Like, this was brilliant too. Toriyama brought him back as a regular villain, as a recurring villain.
Okay, maybe I'll give it a shot.
The only reason that he's kind of on Goku's side.
I'm afraid I'm gonna watch it and they're gonna change the canon in a way that they add in Cell like as a mommy monster, and then I'll watch it and go, I don't like this. This is too much.
Like the only reason that Frieza's on Goku's side in the tournament, in like the Universal tournament, is because it's like, well, I can't very well rule if a universe if it doesn't exist.
And
good enough for me.
Frieza does some wicked shit in that tournament too. It is actually kind of beautiful.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. I'll have to make the time and come back on and report back my thoughts about Dragon Ball.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna make your experience a lot easier. Watch the 2 movies. Watch Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, and then start Super around episode 25 because they adapt.
Resurrection F. Okay.
Yeah, that's the second. Yeah. So they
Super. And then I have to play this One Piece Dragon Quest game.
Right.
Give me 1,000 hours of stuff to do.
So Dragon Ball Super, the beginning of it adapts those 2 movies really bad. Like they stretch them out and it ain't great, and the animation's kind of cheap. But once episode about 25 hits, it leaves adapting the movies into its own story, and that's when it's Kino shit. So you like watch those 2 movies.
Tune in for it. I'm glad that they did a return of Dragon Ball that was, you know, a worthy successor. Like people seem to like it a lot.
Oh yeah,
I like that. I like that Dragon Ball continues to find new audiences. That it still hits. Yeah. That you can show a 4-year-old, you know, Goku powering up and fighting a guy, and they get it. they know he's the hero. The other, he's got to fight Vegeta, and it still works, still hits, still finding audiences.
I think one of the best reasons that it works so well is that Goku. I mean, he's the hero, but he's not. Like the Funimation dub tried to kind of make him Superman, but I think one of the biggest appeals of Goku is that he's kind of a crazy person.
Yeah, he's very aloof.
Well, he's not even aloof. He's like, yeah, I want to save the world because I like my friends and I don't want them dead. But he's like a psycho.
I gotta fight this guy. Yeah, he gives Cell that sensu bean to heal him up. When he had him,
he spared
he
Vegeta.
Just whooped him.
Well, he didn't even whoop Cell because he knew Cell was sandbagging for the fun of it. So he's like, no, my son is gonna do this, and I don't want my son's accomplishment to be dampered by Cell being like not at his best. So, son, you're gonna whoop him, and you're gonna show how great you are by whooping him at his best.
And the resolution of that storyline, the teleporting to King Kai's planet with the big fat Cell, that's so funny.
With Cell about to explode.
And King Kai just so pissed off. Like, why'd you have to come here?
And it didn't even work. Cell comes back like fully reformed. Like, hey, those Saiyan genes are great.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good heel work. That's fun storytelling.
It's so good. It's so good.
Dragon Quest is great too. I would say 3 or 5. If I was going to tell somebody to play one, maybe 8. I think maybe 8. That'd probably be the one that would get people in. 4 the one was
with not Sephiroth? Because I hear a lot of good things about that
4
one.
4 is the one that has the mini arcs of characters. So you play.
Right. Yeah.
You play as the old knight guy first, and like his through his chapter. Then you play as the merchant. Then you play as the mage, and then they all come together at the end.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
That's good. I love that one.
So
too.
I love them
all. 6 is the one that has like a light world and a dream world.
Oh, yeah.
There's like an upper world and a lower world.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll play this in a second. Because that's what I thought of this stupid meme when you said that.
Oh, there's a lot of stupid memes out there.
It's great. It was laced with Fent. That's stupid meme. I love that thing.
Well, we gotta ask the question. If we're gonna talk Dragon Ball and kind of look back, favorite saga, everybody. Favorite saga.
Ooh, I'd probably say Cell. Actually, I love Boo, but and it may just be like, man brain seeing Android 18 being like, oh, hello, as a kid. But yeah, man, I like the Cell saga, and Trunks is badass.
Yeah,
and also Vegeta got to have his super badass moments.
Hell yeah! I think you described a lot of why I would say it's my favorite. I also like the fact that I like the idea of the main villain having to also go through like not really a training arc, but like
a growth
when we meet
period.
the main villain. Yeah, when the main villain usually shows up in Dragon Ball, he's the tough motherfucker already. And Cell had to go through a process. So you had like these other not the main villains, like, making things interesting, and then here comes the main villain tripping everything up in his quest to get as strong as he can be. And I thought that was really interesting. The parts where like the side characters are fighting the main villain and holding their own because he's in like his first bug form. He's this weird like skinny man form, and like I think we didn't like Krillin fought him in an airfield or whatever. It's like stuff like that. I like that a lot. Like the main villain also had to do a grind. I thought that made it interesting too. And Perfect Cell
in the work.
Yeah, and Perfect Cell has like a fucking amazing design. Even the dub gave him a cool.
I thought it was so gross when he absorbed him with his tail.
Yeah.
That was so gross.
Yeah, it was cool.
And now he's an alien queen.
Yeah.
That's what that put me in the mind of, that alien egg queen sack, and now he's an alien queen.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, how about you, Charles? What's your favorite saga?
My favorite saga of Dragon Ball. That's tough. That's a tough question. I might go with the Saiyan stuff just because I watched it so much as a kid and it hit so hard. I don't know. because the Cell stuff, that was probably the peak, like ratings wise, of DBZ, where you had to tune in every day
Yeah.
to see where the storyline was going to go next. I probably wouldn't say the Boo saga, like all the Boo stuff.
I think a lot of people wouldn't say the Boo saga. Like the Boo saga was not bad, but it just didn't have the oomph that like the last 3 before it had.
But I really like the stuff on. I'm gonna say the Saiyans. I think the Saiyan stuff, and I'm saying the original version with all the extra filler episodes, because I like this. I like the long journey on the Snake Way because it made it feel like Goku's trying to advance, Gohan's trying to do his thing. Everybody had their stuff that they were doing. I think that's probably the arc. And that episode where Vegeta and Nappa go and kill all those bug people that are in love. I like that episode because it's so stupid.
Vegeta and Nappa had a desire to know more.
Vegeta, what's the scouter say about his power level?
It's
so
over.
weird.
That meme came from that. That's
It's over
I
9,000.
That's always really weird to me because the original says 8,000, which makes me wonder why did they just arbitrarily up it to 9?
Why
For
not?
no goddamn reason. Was there something about the number 9,000 that just sounded better to the scriptwriter or something? What?
Felt better. More power.
I guess so.
It's so weird. It's just so
The
random.
amps go to 11. They sound better.
It's like that kind of thing. Was it really just to make it sound tougher because it was 1,000 higher? But then, like, you wouldn't know if you didn't know the Japanese version. It's just it's the
It
most
seems
random little
strange
thing.
and arbitrary.
Yeah, it always just sticks out to me every time I think about it.
But then again, when you go back to
the
when you go back to the dub, like there's a lot of stuff that they just threw in there that was strange and arbitrary.
oh yeah, the old DBZ dub was trash. Like people bitch about dubs today, and there's a good reason. But y'all don't know. Y'all do not know the old DBZ dub. I think people are like now calling out the old DBZ dub like it's current. Like, look what they changed. Like, we know. We were there. That's why everyone just started watching it in Japanese and never went back.
They cut out all the blood every time they'd say damn.
They added these weird lines. They made Goku sound like a Redditor in one line. Where he was shit talking Frieza when Frieza was like, like partially a corpse or something, like trying to kill him. And like the original Goku was like, I don't want to kill you. You're too pathetic in their state now. And that kind of, the thing we all know that he said to Frieza. Then that old dub, it was like your taunts belie your lower intelligence or something like that. It's just weird. It made Goku sound like a goddamn Redditor when he was shit talking Frieza, because Frieza called him a monkey or something.
Yeah, that's not the boy that grew up as a wild boy out in the woods would say the word belie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the infamous ally to good, nightmare to you speech replacing the Super Saiyan speech is like just the shit they did. And just having to add dialogue because they couldn't have any quiet moments. So anytime there was a time where it was just nobody was talking, and let's say it was like a pan or something or a tense moment, they had to have somebody like talking off screen every single time, and it was usually a quip. It was like
problem. It
was Marvel movie shit, like decades before Marvel movie shit.
Well, that just happened.
Like stuff like that. It's stuff like I mean the Krillin saying Mondo cool or the cat loves food thing. Like, what the fuck?
You get the feeling that the people of Namek really love the color green.
It's just like it's fun. Like you go back to like DBZ Abridged, back when DBZ Abridged was still pretty funny. Because man, did they fall off after a point? But
fell
they were
off
funny.
hard.
Yeah, they did. But then around the Namek stuff, they're still pretty funny. And a lot of people might not know, going back, a lot of the stuff they were making fun of was that old dub.
Yes, it was.
They were just referencing a lot of those stupid lines that came up in that old dub. And even like the voices they gave, like the Jace being from Space Australia, was because the dub gave him this inexplicable Australian accent.
Mysteriously out of nowhere.
I'm from outer space, yo.
Space Australia.
I am from Space Australia.
And it was funny too. They did that because they were trying to imitate the Ocean dub. And the Ocean dub gave Jace this like hair metal voice.
Yeah.
They even had him do a hair metal scream during the Ginyu
Somebody
Force
told me
fight.
they put out a DVD set of the Ocean dub. I think that's the version I want to buy and watch.
it's crazy. Like in the Ocean dub, Jace, I guess because he had the long hair, so they're thinking he's like an old hair metal guy because they saw his hair. So I'm Jace, you know. And they were trying to get I guess like a British rocker or something.
Clown, baby.
Yeah, something like that. It was like basically that. It was like, wow, I'm Jace. Like that's how he talked in the Ocean dub. And I guess Chris Sabat trying to imitate that couldn't do like a British hair metal rocker, and it just came out as Australian. Just an inexplicable Australian accent. So he just had this fucking Australian accent. It was so weird, that transition period when they were just trying to imitate the Ocean group voices. And like Linda Young, God bless her, she's a great actress, but not as Frieza. Having her trying to do a Frieza voice and then trying to sound more menacing, and you could hear that like you just can't force an old woman to sound like an intimidating man. She's trying to go really deep and make her voice really scratchy, and it just sounds like the most put on, fakest, goofy shit. And thank God, like they got Chris Ayres in the future. Like Chris Ayres killed it as Frieza.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Chris Ayres is the man. But Linda, there is a funniness to hearing Linda Young's Frieza, and it's like, you know, she did it. You know, I it's something to be proud of for her. Especially, I can't imagine what it did to her vocal cords, having to go, because it was basically like you're going into the booth every day, going, okay, now today I have to talk like this for the next 4 hours.
I have to talk like this for the next couple of hours.
It was even more than that, because her trying to go from her old lady register down as deep and scratchy, to be as
deep and as scratchy as humanly possible.
Yeah. I can't imagine she could speak after a recording session. Like, you think about Vic Mignogna complaining
having
about
to scream as Broly, yeah, and he had to like take breaks.
Yeah, and like now imagine like that was just a movie. Linda Young did the same thing Vic did for Broly as Frieza, because Vic was also doing like low and gravel in that first Broly movie. So imagine that for a season.
God,
not a movie, a season.
When I do my Kuwabara voice for too long, my throat gets really scratchy.
Yeah. Now
when I do my Kuwabara voice, I could do it all day.
now do it all day for like several months.
All right, I will do it all day. How about that? I'll continue to do it the rest of the podcast.
And then continue to do it for the next several months.
That.
Spirit sword, grow longer. Oh, my spirit sword. I'm out of power. Hey, Keiko. How are you?
I'm not gonna lie. I miss old Funimation, man.
I do too.
When they used to have fun with anime.
Now they're dead. They all killed themselves. They all jumped off the cliff one by one by one.
Poochie died on the way to his home planet.
They gave a shit, man. They used to fucking give a shit. And they made good shit when they did. And it's like, man, you gotta just cherish when you got something good, because you never know.
Like, I always wanted to be a voice actor at one
you're in the
point.
golden age until it's done.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. I wanted to be a voice actor. That's why I picked up all of these goofy anime voices from, because I was always like, you know, like you said, practicing and trying to imitate the voices and then coming up with my own and stuff.
Finding out that the best way to become a voice actor, if you really want to go do it, just be in Texas where they record voices and be friends with somebody who works there.
And then just post
that's how you get that job.
Then just post on like, you know, certain hashtags and certain things of activism, and you're a shoo-in for the job. Just
if
lie.
You don't tweet out trans rights, you ain't getting in, pal.
That's right. That's how you become a voice actor.
You have to have like a they pronoun, like one they. Like you can have your biological pronoun there, like you can have her, but you have to have they at least.
Oh, I
no
forgot
one's gonna
to say
fucking use it.
I forgot to say my pronouns at the start of the show. I'm we/us. Point of privilege. Please respect my pronouns.
We/was.
Oof. Oof.
I always knew you were a Kang, Charles.
We was pharaohs.
No, we saw those at the anime.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I saw them.
The
Black Israelites.
The Black Israelites.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw them a couple times visiting New York.
Guys.
Yeah.
They always
those guys seem
parks
so crazy.
Reason. They like parks.
They like to stand somewhere and just yell shit. And
that's right. We the real Jews. That's right.
I guess that's gonna do something. Like, man, I wasn't on board, but when you stood there on this dirty ass street corner and yelled very loudly at no one in particular, you sold me, sir.
Always a dude in the group who will, that's right, and cheer on no matter what insane thing the other guy says.
Yeah. Gotta bring your hype man. He's like a masculine from Bleach. You're empowered by the hype man.
Now, I never watched Bleach. Should I watch Bleach?
Yeah.
Yes. It's fantastic.
The manga's better, and it's
1,000 episodes long. Is it on Netflix?
Just watch the first arc. And then decide if you want to watch the rest, because the rest just kind of repeats itself. You can just skip arc 2, I think.
Well, no, you can't really, because they introduce story shit.
I started Yu-Gi-Oh. I've been watching
just read the Wikipedia
Yu-Gi-Oh.
at that point.
Laughing my ass off at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Here's the thing with Bleach, and we actually talked about this in the last episode. Bleach is a roller coaster. It goes really high and it's really great, and then it dips and it's kind of lame, and then it gets really high and really great, and then dips again, but it ends really great. So if you get on board with those highs...
I like that it's end. I like stuff that has an end.
Oh, it ended, yeah, and it's good ending, too. And the final arc is great. The final
it's
arc
like 1,000 episodes, right?
Okay, so the first ending fucking sucked. The very first, it was lame as hell, but then he had to go back and, finish it again.
No, it didn't.
Did a lap
it's just
around.
another arc. Like, it just kept going. Like, there was the...
Well, he made that, last arc, I think, to make up for the shitty ending that was Bleach.
No, he had it... Like, he had been foreshadowing a lot of this stuff beforehand.
Well, what would you guys say is the best stuff? I feel like Berserk. Berserk's pretty high up for me.
Oh, yeah.
I love Berserk.
North Star.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there's
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
North Star's pretty high.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into the JoJo. We played the fighting game a little bit back in the day.
There's something wrong with your brain.
I'll tell you this.
Not get into JoJo.
The best.
I watched half an episode and was like, I ain't got time for this.
Listen, okay. When the Steel Ball Run anime comes out, watch Steel Ball Run, because all of the issues that you have with the previous storylines of JoJo will disappear, because Steel Ball Run is the greatest shit ever.
It's like half an episode of the JoJo shows, whatever was on
Toonami at the time,
or Amazon, or one of these things. I just put it on one day. It was like, I'll give it a chance.
Well, see, you jumped in with no context. See, here's the thing about JoJo. JoJo's fucking weird, and it owns it.
I mean, it's sillier than the name.
JoJo goes in hard.
I played the video game. We played the fighting game. There was a guy, and it was a meme there for a long time, where the big steamroller would come in and run a guy over. Wee! Yeah, that thing.
Well, that's because all that's references to shit in the show.
Yeah.
But the fighting game doesn't even get into... See, JoJo's in parts, because it's separate stories, each with its own main character and main villain, but they're also tied together. So the main character of part 2 is the son of the main character of part 1, for instance.
Well, he's the grandson.
I need to find part 1.
Yeah, part 1, and you start from there. Because everything builds up. Is there
a dub of that, or do I have to watch subtitles?
There is a dub of that.
There's a dub. Here's the thing with the dub and the sub of JoJo, right? The dub tries. They are trying, but it is hampered by the fact that the people that own the rights fucked with it. Because JoJo is full of music references. And the rights holders in the West are Warner Brothers.
And they're the buttholes.
Every music reference that they don't have a connection to, that isn't a Warner Brothers recording label artist, changed. And they're all fucking weird. And the dub quality is varies from part to part. Part 1's alright. I think Patrick Seiss does a good Dio, even though Dio's Japanese actor, you can't really top his Japanese actor, but Patrick Seiss does a good job. Part 1's okay.
I'll try to find that one.
Find a good subtitle that doesn't have the changed names, because the changed name, it's not even just that they changed name. They changed name to dumb shit. One guy's stand is called Bad Company, and they change it in the
Worst Company, right?
Worst Company. Yeah.
Yeah, that kills the joke. The joke is Bad Company, like the band.
Yeah. Or there's some
Bad Company.
Yeah, and his stand is that he controls a tiny army. It's a toy-sized actual army with actual ordnance. And worst companies makes no sense. There's some of them were really weird too. Some of them were slight, Crazy Diamond.
Mediocre.
There was Crazy Diamond, who's the main character of part 4, Stan, and they turned to Shining Diamond.
Shining Diamond.
So what else is good? What's another good anime that I would not have watched?
Oh, I know a couple because I know some obscure Kino shit that a lot of people don't talk about.
That's what I want. I want to know the good anime.
Have you ever heard of a little thing called Heat Guy J?
Man, I remember when that MTV aired the dub of that for a little while. I was like, what the hell?
I must have seen that. I would have saw that then.
A Heat Guy J. There's an interesting story on its own of like the behind the scenes licensing for that show, but it is everything about the show is great. The animation is gorgeous. The soundtrack is incredible. You're gonna be downloading tracks from the OST. The characters are fantastic. The dub is great, so it's an easy watch. You don't have to watch a sub. And the dub was the first time Johnny Young Bosch played a psychopath.
Which is broadcast on MTV2.
Yeah, it was weird.
Are you familiar with Satoshi Kon's stuff? Satoshi Kon, the Perfect Blue, Paprika.
Yeah, I saw Perfect Blue.
You may have seen Paranoia Agent. That was his too.
I don't know if I saw that one.
That's a good one. That's so
it's
good.
The one with the...
He based a lot of his animes off of cinema, like Western cinema.
As far as your comic books go, the Junji Ito stuff's pretty great as far as the comics go. I found that the animes have not been as good. They just haven't lived up to it.
Yeah, because the black and white look helps with his horror aesthetic. And once you make it clean
turn. Reading through the one about the spiral town where the spirals were cursed.
Yeah.
Uzumaki. Reading through that one. The end of each chapter is this crazy shock image.
Yeah.
And it only escalates as it goes along.
Yeah, and like it.
I loved it. I love that the page turn of like, oh my god, the lighthouse has burned these boys.
Yeah, that page turn was like he uses the fact that you're reading so that the quote unquote jump scare will hit you when you turn the page.
And it just doesn't work the same way in a cartoon because I watched some of the. They did one that was like an adaptation a couple years ago. There's one on Netflix now. The Netflix one now, I did not care for as much. They did the balloons, and it just didn't. It didn't have the teeth.
Yeah,
something about it just felt off, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe it's the black and white thing. Maybe it's the page turn effect, where like the way that those stories were paced, where that last page turn is it just all uphill up towards the climax, like the roller coaster. Where you're climbing, and you get that last page of like, oh my god, they're intertwined like snakes now. It's so good, and the way
you need that grime for his aesthetic. You need a little bit of grime.
I watched the movie of Uzumaki and was utterly disappointed because they took some of the visuals, but they didn't take the building of it. They didn't take the. And I feel like they cheated a little bit too. They like flashed some stuff on TVs. They just didn't, and they definitely didn't go anywhere near the final arc of that story where it gets real weird, where we go into like spiral world and there's like a spiral hell that they go into with all these crystalline things. One day they'll make that movie or it'll probably be a TV show.
They're working on the anime, but it's been like indefinitely delayed like 3 times now. So there's no
they might as well just say canceled.
Supposedly it's supposed to come out this year, but they said that in 2023
we shall see.
There was gonna in 2022 they said it was gonna come out in 2023. Now in 2023 they say 2024, and it's probably gonna get delayed again because I haven't heard like anything about its development at all.
Maybe it's a thing where they're gonna try to make it as good as possible. I find a lot of the modern anime I've tried to watch. I really wanted to watch this Godzilla one. They put this one on Netflix of this Godzilla thing, and I just could not watch it. I watched like 5 minutes of it and was like, my eyes hurt. This hurts my I feel this in my teeth. And I skipped ahead. I was like, well, let's see when Godzilla shows up if it gets any better. And it didn't. And I just couldn't watch it. I just turned it off. I said the animation, something about the computer, the way it was animated hurt me. And I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. There was a Spider-Man cartoon with the Black Spider-Man. I didn't care for that either. It had the same effect.
Spider-Man, the second Spider-Verse one or the first one?
I think it would have been the first one I watched. I tried to watch.
The second one's atrocious with its story, but it looked fine as far as animation goes.
Something about that animation just was so off-putting to me.
I
so
think
jarring.
it's awesome. Like that was like probably one of the best theater experience I ever had was watching that first movie.
See, we didn't watch it in the theater. I was watching it on TV at home, so maybe that was the issue.
I think
maybe it looked better projected on a big thing.
Yeah, it definitely because it draws you into it with the way that everything looks. So,
it's stupid to me that movies only exist for that first week. It's like, well, the movie didn't do good this first week, so obviously it's a failure. It's done. We spent all these years working on it for 2 days of box office.
That's why DVD sales used to be important, but now they're not so much anymore because people don't collect Blu-rays like they used to.
Going to be a thing in Best Buy already got rid of them.
Yeah, Walmart's apparently going to soon as well.
Oh no, they lose Walmart, they've lost the game.
Well, the problem is, like, these companies are chasing immediate profits so much that they're causing a collapse of this entertainment industry as a whole. Like, now it's just putting out trash movies to make a profit within the next 2 days, and you have to keep up the mill. And it's not sustainable. It's going to collapse on itself. It's already happening in the games industry. Like, you can't just chase profit for profit's sake, because you will. That is a cancer, and it will kill you.
Well, it's the nonstop recurrent spending. So I'm deep in tabletop gaming world. So Hasbro, they just showed off like their losses for the year. They had lost a ton of money, like the last 3 months. But like their big money maker was Monopoly Go. Like a mobile game. They made.
I mean, that figures normies like that shit.
Oh, they made almost $2 billion off of Monopoly Go. Just people pouring money into a stupid phone game because they're retarded and don't understand that this is the stupidest thing in the world to pay more money to play a game. I don't get it. Like it's not like an arcade game. Like arcade games. I don't think I ever spent more than $5 on an arcade game. But a phone game, these people are putting $5 in every day. And then there's the whales who are putting in thousands of dollars, like your Arabian princes or whoever.
The DSPs who take every single dollar he earns and puts it into WWE champions.
I had to put all that money in. I had to put the money in. I'm a WWE supercard. I didn't do it that way.
You don't understand. I had to get the Triple S Roman Reigns.
I had to get Triple S. This is Roman Reigns card. I needed it.
See, what's different about this Roman Reigns is that he's got the vest from when he was in the Shield. That makes it better than the other Roman Reigns.
See, when weebs talk about gotcha shit, it's like the same language to me. I just tune out. I'm like, you retards spend your money on the dumbest fucking thing just to say you own your husbando or waifu and your little fucking phone app.
I hate that video games have become recurrent spending and slot machines and the DLC stuff. It all goes back to horse armor. I complained as loudly as I could about the horse armor.
Me too.
And then it was after horse armor, it was the Katamari game on Xbox 360, where the levels were on the disc, but you had to pay whatever it was to unlock those levels. And that's 15 years ago. I rung that bell as loud as I could, as hard as I could, and it just didn't sink through. Everybody just went along with it. Everybody bought it, and here we are in hell.
Well, now the new thing is that everything has to be a fucking live service now with battle passes.
That too. I don't want to play a game forever. I can't keep playing you Fortnite. I'm sorry, man. It's done. We're over.
Well, here's your white pill. All that shit's collapsing in on itself. Like, obviously, it wasn't sustainable, and folks were trying to say that for years. But we're seeing it collapse now, and I feel like streaming is gonna. You can smell it on streaming. That's already.
They're getting desperate with video games, with Netflix and shit like that.
Yeah, when they're that
just
desperate,
keep cranking it out.
That's that Dark Knight Returns moment. Do you feel in control?
Yeah.
Clearly,
do you feel like in charge?
Yeah. Does this feel
That's
like
why
this
I love
business
seeing the success of your Helldivers, your Baldur's Gate 3s.
Our World, baby. Love that game.
Yeah, Power World was another big, just monster success.
You mean Ark, but Pokemon skin?
Yeah,
Fuck,
that's
who
it.
cares?
Who cares? That game's great.
I loved it. I played
It's
so
so
much
fun.
of that one. Oh man, I should play that one today.
I still jump back to it. I'm trying to breed a badass team of like guys with the legendary trait, so I can get ready when they drop raid bosses. I'm trying to get all my
I got.
Oh, yeah.
I got the guy where you ride on his shoulder and he has a grenade launcher.
I mean, that's like 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
The big green one.
Getting the big mammoth. Oh, the big mammoth! I love the big mammoth.
There's just so much about that game. Just
See,
filleted.
the cool thing
It's
about
so
the
good.
mammoth, like you see the mammoth like when you first get to the island, like at the very
Oh, I
beginning of
tried
it.
to fight him. I tried to fight him.
You see him and you're like, man, I can't wait till I can catch that guy. And it's like it feels so good when you're finally able to catch one.
Yes. There's
that
so much about that
tease.
game, man. You can see why that blew up. If
So we're
anything, it's
going
doing
into
Pokemon better than Pokemon.
hour 3 of the podcast now.
We should probably
Are we
talk
prob-
about the VTuber.
Where do
because
we go from here?
we should probably talk about the VTuber stuff because I mean, talk about
What's-
Power World.
I don't
Power
know
World
anything
became
about
really
the VTuber
popular.
stuff. I know that there's the Sweet Baby stuff going on in gaming, and people are losing their shit over that.
I'm so fucking sick of hearing about Sweet Baby at this point.
What's going on with the VTuber thing? Tell me all about it, Gator.
All right.
Ugh,
So
I
Act
need to
like
eat
I-
soon. I
explain
don't know
like
if I
I'm
can turn it
Charles.
around.
we're not gonna
Explain
go
like I'm
too
Charles
long.
and don't know.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
gonna go too long on the VTuber stuff because
Okay.
we talked about Akira Toriyama pretty much for like 2 hours.
Go watch Dragon Ball Super
Yes, go watch Dragon Ball Super. It's great.
and the
So-
movies.
I will. It's on my list. I wrote it down. I wrote down the One Piece
remember,
game.
Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, then started episode 25. Trust
Battle
me.
of Gods, Resurrection F, started 25. Resurrection F, started 25. Lord Loves Working Man.
Hell yes.
Desiree.
Bread and butter.
Trust me,
milk.
you'll watch it and be like, I'm so glad I listened to that guy on that Anime Boomer show. Oh my
Yeah.
god, changed my life. I'm a better
Changed my
man.
life, man. I listened to that guy on that Boomer show, man. Changed my life.
So VTuber stuff. So you know something is a big deal when the other Charlie, Moist Critical.
Oh, the guy that
Covers it.
talks like this, that
Yeah,
guy,
the guy that
that fucking guy.
Yeah,
You know, this
he
guy, he talks like this the whole time.
yeah he talks
He's got that real particular. I'm not even sure if that's really his voice. I bet you he's putting that on.
I bet he is
His voice. That's the voice.
But he covered it. Mutahar covered it. Asmongold covered it. Like it's crazy to me to see like well I won't call them normies, but like more like mainstream tier like internet people covering VTuber drama because it's just like a wholly different community. So there's this company. It's called Niji Sanji. It's they have the most VTubers and they make the most money. Even though I wouldn't say that they are the number one company, I'd still say
They're the number one in
HoloLive.
Japan.
They're the number one in Japan, but I think HoloLive is the number one globally.
Yes.
So, explain like I'm Charles. How does the VTuber thing work? So are you paying a license fee for that character?
No,
No,
so-
so you basically sign up. You sign up with an agency, and this is not counting independent VTubers. The agency already has. They're basically like they're casting for a show. They already have these characters in mind. They're looking for a personality to fill them. So they hire somebody to be this character that's already sort of set in stone. The personality can like tweak it, like, hey, can you maybe change the hair this way or that way? But generally, it's set. And then they hire these people to basically stream and be like streamers and performers. So it's not just streaming. I think that's kind of the difference between VTubing and a lot of like regular streaming. You're not just playing games. They're doing songs. They're doing other shows. It's a variety stuff. And these agencies, again, they've already got. I got this character in mind. I got this theme of these 4 characters. We just need people to fill them, and they put out auditions. People fill them, and they should, if they're a good company, unlike some, provide you with support. They help advertise you. They provide you with the character model and all the technology. They send you the stuff that you need to stream as that character. So if you need like a phone that's got the camera on it to face track, they send you that. They hook you up with what you need. They get you the advertising. They get you the YouTube channel. They've got a managing system for you so that you don't have to deal with YouTube's bullshit. The managers will do that.
I didn't know that it was that deep into it. I figured that there was some sort of licensing for these characters and these little avatar things. So this is like a whole like thing. This is a whole studio system.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they'll have like if they do well, they have 3D debuts. Well, they'll have a whole studio that has like 3D tracking.
3D debut. That's
and
wow.
and they'll be 3D. And the thing with VTubing is too that you got to play a character. That's what a lot of the independents kind of forget, and that's why no one gives a shit about them, and they're not as big as the corporate ones.
Well, some of them
you gotta
are.
There's kayfabe. Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm talking about like the ones that just know kayfabe. It's very few VTubers that disregard their kayfabe entirely that really make it big. Even if the kayfabe is just you never see the person behind the character. But there is a level of kayfabe. You're playing a character. HoloLive is big on the kayfabe.
Oh yeah, they.
And I do think that's
interesting.
I do think that's why they're as big as they are. Like you take Mori Calliope, right? Her character is that she's the Grim Reaper's apprentice. So she's like, she's like Death, but like she's not like Death trained her to be a replacement Death when Death retires. So her bit is like she kills people. She's Death. When she talks about her real life stuff, she weaves it within that kayfabe. So let's say she's talking about her families, like Mama Reaper and Papa Reaper. She would talk.
The gimmick.
Yeah, she would talk about like when she first started. Everyone kind of sussed out that she was living in Japan, teaching as an English tutor. So she would frame it as living in the underworld, teaching Reapers in training scythe swinging lessons. That was always she talked about, scythe swinging lessons. So there's that level of they're playing, even if they're being open about who they are, it's through the lens of a character, and that's a big like appeal to them because it's a real person with their real personality, but also this character thing, which provides the performer with a level of privacy and provides a little extra fun for the audience.
So what's the controversy? Why is this interesting now?
So, Gator, I'm sure you've gone over like a million times the legal mindset and all that, so I'll wrap it up, because I also want to eat, so I'll be as brief as possible. So you have Niji Sanji, the other big company besides HoloLive. And they've always kind of been sketchier. HoloLive has had their issues, but it's always been just sort of growing pains.
Yeah, just hearing about it feels kind of pimpy. Like they feel kind of like studio system-y.
From what we know of HoloLive, they do right by their talents very well.
All of idol culture is kind of iffy and sketchy.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
That's what it feels like, the idol stuff.
But there's roots in idol culture. Even the terminology, a lot of it comes from idol culture, like graduations and stuff.
Oshi.
But that feels like I physically repulsed as you said graduations. I don't know what that is.
It's better than saying our contract ended.
Oh no, for idol culture, the way the idol works,
it just felt gross.
Well, in Japan, the reason they call it that is because the way idols work is when you become an idol as basically a method to train you to become some kind of entertainer or celebrity, pop star, or whatever. So by graduating, you're no longer an idol because you are idol, and you then go on to become a singer, or an actress or something like that.
Straight to OnlyFans.
If you failed. But the idea is that idols are supposed to be, even though we know it's kind of predatory, it's supposed to be pure. Like you're supposed to be a good girl. Like you're supposed to be someone. You're supposed to be someone people can look up to, so that then you go on to become a celebrity with a good reputation. That's the idea. It does
get kind of like invasive whenever it's like dating. Like you cannot date people or be seen publicly. That is like super invasive and creepy.
It's not as
I can understand why a band would have rules like that. Like once people found out like John Lennon was married, that kind of killed a little bit of that mystique.
There's weird kind of gross stuff about idol culture, but it's not as much as people make it out to be. It's there's nuance. It's not kind of and VTubing kind of just
plus it's another culture in Japan is to outside Western eyes. I've watched anime with other people before, and they have always have strong reactions. Like, why is this so perverted? Why is it always shots of women bending over and putting their ass in the camera? Why do we always need to see this? Why is
a lot of media perverted? Like, why is like hypersexual shit you see in Western media? Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
it just feels more pronounced because it's a cartoon. I think that's what it is.
It's just people have the idea of animation in their head as like being
for kids.
For kids
in the West. And
meanwhile,
Japan
Looney Tunes is killing Indians and counting them off.
People just don't. It's not their culture. They aren't used to it, so they don't get it.
Yeah.
But with VTubing, like it kind of has roots in idol culture. Especially HoloLive is actually going for that.
Interesting.
But
because I feel totally alien every
But
time
with
I
the-
see these girls pop up in memes and things like
With
the
the-
crazy reactions.
the thing with HoloLive versus Niji Sanji is HoloLive, from what we've seen, the reason that it's very beloved, and to the point where even the CEO is a beloved figure by the fans,
Yago.
they do right by their talents. They
take care of people.
They take care of them. They give them
I'm never going to say it right.
I gotta say this. I gotta say this in order to give context for Niji Sanji.
Okay.
So HoloLive, they're good by their talents. They take care of them if their talent is being harassed. HoloLive's got a legal team ready to pounce if you go after their talents.
Interesting.
They give their talents a fair cut. They put a lot of that money they make and that profit back into the business to increase like the technology they use and to provide more for the talent. So it's very much, from what we can see, both in like what they show and just what gets leaked, they are an honest company. They're a good company. Like if you want to work for a company, you want to work for HoloLive. They'll treat you right. Niji Sanji, on the other hand, they are the other big company. And the more we learn about them, the more we learn that is very much not the case. And I can wrap it up with one example. In HoloLive, they've mentioned, like, talents just kind of said stuff off the cuff. So we've known that HoloLive, when they sell merch, they give the talent a 50% cut. So if you buy one of those, like, plushies of, like, let's say I have an Amelia Watson Wolfie plushie right there. I'm looking at it right now. It's adorable. Amelia Watson, I know, got 50% of the money from that plushie. She got half. Niji Sanji, if that was a Niji Sanji plushie of one of the Niji Sanji talents, they would have gotten a 2% cut.
2%.
2% cut of merch sales. 50%, 2%. And I could give you a million examples of Niji Sanji being what they call a black company in Japan. Basically, a black company. An exploitative, almost sweatshop type company. They call it a black company.
Oh, I like that phrase, It's a black company.
Yeah, black company. And to the point, people are saying, like, they're calling them Kuro Sanji, Kuro being the Japanese word for black. People are like, it's the company that owns Niji Sanji, the parent company is called Any Color. And people joke, like, any color, but you choose black.
Interesting.
But all the examples I could give a million, but I think that merch sale, comparing that to HoloLive, is the biggest summation of how much of an exploitative company this is. So it blew up in their face when they fired one of their biggest, most beloved talents because she was ambitious and basically tried to do her own thing, and they never gave her any support. They made her pay out of pocket for all the shit she was trying to do. They kept canceling the shit she was organizing. She made no profit for the entire year of 2023. She spent $200,000 of her own money.
Oof.
To organize things. Niji Sanji never backed her up, and then it got to the point where she tried to kill herself because of what she was going through with Niji Sanji, not just financially, but the term bullying gets thrown around a lot. You kind of roll your eyes like, oh yeah, bullying, like, yeah, grow up, you're an adult. But she was genuinely being like the shit they were doing to her within the company, and like even within the other talents, it was just a mental barrage. You combine that with the finances and all that, she couldn't take it anymore. She snapped. She tried to kill herself. Thankfully, she didn't succeed. But then the way they handled that afterward, they like took over her socials. People kind of figured out that it wasn't her tweeting from her account. It was a manager, because the apostrophe used. Because if you're using an English language typewriter, your apostrophe is just that straight line.
The straight one that goes down.
If you're using a Japanese language typewriter, even if you're typing in English, it uses that curved apostrophe. She always had the straight apostrophe, but when she was tweeting from the hospital, supposedly, it was that curved apostrophe.
That is high-octane autism at its peak right there.
Yep.
Yeah, you had that. Then you had, they just treated her like shit even after that. So they fired her in the hospital.
I guess there's something in the rules in their contract about not killing yourself, huh?
There was some other shit. She was basically, she had it. She'd not taking it anymore. So they just fired her. And then she came out and said, I won't be silenced anymore, talked about what she had endured. And then, like, they put out these terrible statements. Like they put out a statement to stockholders that the damage from her firing would be negligible, and that's become a meme now because her firing is tanked their stock.
Negligible.
They said that the damage to her stock would be negligible. When she tried to go independent, she's Doki Bird now. During her first gaming stream, as she was streaming, a bunch of other Niji Sanji talents put out a stream to sort of give their side, to basically slander her at the same time she was streaming. So it was like all of this suspect shit.
Yeah.
All of this suspect shit that has just tanked Niji Sanji. And the worst part is there are good people that are Niji Sanji talents.
Yes, there are.
And they are getting dragged through the mud by this. And I absolutely feel for them. And I understand, too, people that's like, I want to support them, I like them, but I don't want to support the company because I don't want them to get a cut.
So I have a question. So how many people, and I assume it was all girls, but maybe there are guys
Niji Sanji does have a lot of
doing this
guys.
stuff too.
Niji Sanji does have a lot of guys.
Because I'm just totally out of like streamer world, and VTuber world is even crazier to me.
Catching you up on all that, especially with all the VTuber lore, would be a stream in and of itself.
Yeah.
My eyes would glaze over.
Oh, here's the kicker.
I mean, Legal Mindset streams have been going on to 48 hours a day, right? Just to cover all the shit.
Yeah, because he just got into this shit, so he's like playing catch up with like all the shits that's happening.
Yeah, I feel like I'm playing catch up just hearing this. This is the first time hearing of it. Because I haven't watched Muda's video or Moist's video, and I'll definitely have to do some.
I would say check out
sniffing around about this story.
Legal Mindset's put out. If you didn't watch his full streams,
Legal
he's done
Mindset.
He's done some like snippets, and also there's a VTuber chick that does like VTubing history videos. There's two of them.
Rima
Evastar and Depressed Nosagi. Do some good, like if you need to catch up on VTuber lore, they're your go-to.
Yeah,
like,
Rima Evenstar and Depressed No Usagi.
Yeah. They're your go-tos for like they got videos that are like about a half hour long.
Explain the lore.
Yeah, exactly.
Always got to know your lore.
But your gist is you got your Hololive, and they're your good guys, and you got your Niji Sanji, and they're your bad guys. And there's some good Niji Sanji talents caught up on this that are also probably going to be retiring soon from Niji Sanji.
I don't know about the good guys, though, Hololive. I mean, they did fire that one girl for saying Taiwan was a country.
No, they didn't. They absolutely did not.
Well, it's a complicated situation. I'll explain it kind of briefly what happened with Kason /
I'll be right back. I think
Coco.
my food has arrived, so I will be right back.
So she was Kiryu Coco in Hololive, and the China situation happened where her and another talent showed their Google Analytics, and Google Analytics lists Taiwan as a separate country from China, and Hololive at the time had a Chinese branch, and they had some investment in China, and so the Chinese side, their business partners, flipped to complete shit. The Chinese audience flipped to complete shit. And in order to like navigate through that, they had to basically take the two talents and suspend them for a period of time. And what ended up happening is like the Chinese audience, they went and they created like these Discord groups. It wasn't in Discord, it was like private Chinese app, but you know, like the Discord harassment groups that pop up where they're like coordinating to screw with
brigading, I think is what they call that.
Yeah. So like the Chinese language audience like created these groups to brigade all of the Hololive streamers, but especially Coco, and just like harass the crap out of her. She had to like lock down her channel, do membership only streams and stuff. It was really bad. And ultimately what ended up happening is her and like Hololive put in new rules about like what you could and could not do. It could not say what kinds of streams that you could do. And ultimately like Coco just kind of decided that it wasn't for her, that she was tired of like the harassment and all this other stuff, and she
didn't
felt like
play no more.
Yeah, and so her and Hololive did end up coming to like an agreement that she would leave, but she's still very well regarded. Like even on the list of like she's still on the list of talent, and it instead of saying that she graduated, it just says OG by her name. The talents still hang out with her. They actually a bunch of the Hololive talents are in Japan right now because HoloFest is going on, and they were actually hanging out with Kason. That's her identity now. Is Kason. So it's not, they didn't fire her over it.
It was very amicable. Very amicable.
Yeah, it was a very mutual kind of thing. because I think they realized that as long as she was Kiryu Coco, that the Chinese audience would find some way to mess with her. And of course, what ended up happening is HoloLive, the moment they could terminate their business contracts with like the Chinese businesses they were working with, they just immediately terminated all of them, even got rid of their China branch, which it turns out some of the harassment was being coordinated by one particular member of the Chinese branch who had ties to the CCP.
There's a couple of members of the Chinese branch. That's actually a pretty interesting can of worms too. Cause
Yeah,
you had,
Rima has a whole video about the HoloLive China branch.
Yeah, because like you had a couple of them that were actually coordinating the harassment, a couple of them that were against the harassment, and then you had Artia, who was basically trying to play both sides. Because the Artia situation is weird, because it's like
this has been going on for a while. I found Muda's video about
like,
the Ninjisami thing.
It's like she
I'm gonna
found
bookmark that one.
I think Artia kind of felt like she had to. I don't think she knew where her loyalties lied. I think her loyalties just lie with whoever she was interacting with at the time. I don't know. But like, yeah, HoloLive completely pulled out of China. The thing with HoloLive is they've had their stumbling shit that they've had in the past. They did learn from it. They have worked to improve things, like especially now like the protections they give against harassment. Now, you could just feel what happened with Kiryu Coco and Mel when she was being stalked.
Oh.
Like, a lot of that comes from that. Like, they don't want that to happen again. You could just see, and I think that's why people give HoloLive more of a pass than other companies, because they've seen that, like, when HoloLive fucks up, they learn from it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning so much here about the VTuber thing.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea, like, how exactly it worked, that it was, like, the idol thing.
Yeah, I think the big reason.
So have they because it's all virtual, could they do a gimmick where, say I don't want to be the meme bastard anymore, could Spooky Weeb Trash just step into my shoes and then she becomes the meme bastard, like a Dread Pirate Roberts thing?
No, but it could do something like if you just wanted to be a character, right? Like if you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna start streaming as like, I'm gonna stream as like this silly cartoony pirate.
So what I'm saying is
and I live in like a Saturday morning cartoon world. You can do that.
I'm the pirate guy, but then I want to quit. Can Spooky then step in my shoes and be the pirate guy?
It hasn't.
It's not. It's the.
It could happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
There was an attempt at that at one point, and that crashed and burned.
It didn't work because they could tell.
Yeah, you have to be. It's the person behind the avatar that is.
Autistic people don't like change.
Yeah.
Well,
no, they don't.
It's that they get attached to the person behind the avatar is the entertainer that was entertaining them. So
I'm starting
you can't
to think
them.
maybe the whole everybody's autistic. Maybe something changed, something in the water.
Well, because
it's not just chemicals that make the frogs gay.
It's all the fluoride in the water from when we were kids.
Something has activated in people, and
well, with VTubing, you can't replace somebody with and be the same person because so much of it is live and personality based.
Yeah.
So, a VTuber reincarnates, they call it, becomes a different character. It's the same person. Everyone kind of plays along, right? Like, people go to Doki Bird's chat and they don't call her Selene. You play along with the new character.
It's like Undertaker goes to WCW as the new, the different character. He's the Soul Taker now.
Yeah, and you treat him like the new character, but you know that he's the Undertaker. Yeah. There's a reason a lot of people compare it to pro wrestling.
Interesting. I'm now fascinated. I'm gonna have to dig more.
Yeah, it's
God,
crazy.
I didn't think I'd walk away from. I thought it'd just be a fun thing, like, oh yeah, I'll hop in for a half hour and hang with the gang and talk about how much Akira Toriyama rules. I didn't know we talk about everything.
I know.
That's the fun of the show, is that
learned so much. I feel like such an anime boomer.
That's right. That's right. And to kind of put a cap on the Niji Sanji thing. So after all of that stuff, they did their financial statement. So this is even before they terminated Selen Tatsuki. This is like before all of that happened. This is like just from the last quarter of last year. They did their financial report, and people did not respond well to it. They lost.
Look at that drop.
Yeah,
I love when a company's hubris costs them a ton of dough.
So they were
Hasbro went through a similar thing last year.
Look at that fucking drop.
Where they thought that they could block out all their competition. To briefly sum up what happened in Dungeons and Dragons world about 25 years ago, thereabouts, they had a thing come out where it was an open gaming license where you could use certain terminology and trade dress and things in third-party products that would be compatible with Dungeons and Dragons. And then last year they decided to change the ruling on that and try to revoke that, even though it said in pretty clear language it was irrevocable. Because that would have shut down whole companies of people that had, like, whole businesses exist because of that open gaming license. And they burned a lot of bridges. And the language was such that it felt like they were coming after people's Patreon money and YouTube money that were in the Dungeons and Dragons space. And so they've burned a lot of goodwill.
I think I remember this. I think I heard about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tons of dough. Like the Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out last year was severely affected by it. I think that definitely killed a lot of that momentum.
I hear that movie was good too.
Oh, it was great. It was a fantastic movie. I had a ball watching it. There's a new edition of the game coming out, and edition changes in tabletop games are always contentious because there's a lot of people that want to stick with what they already know and they liked. It's like, well, it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then other people are ready to move on to the new thing, and it's always a good jumping on point for new people. And so now it's like, right now we're in sort of this Mexican standoff of who's going to blink first, who's going to fire first. All these other companies are starting their own games that are rivals to D&D. And they have a lot of cachet and a lot of clout behind them and a lot of money in some cases. Like Pathfinder, their top competitor, it's my understanding she was one of the early employees at TSR, which is what founded Dungeons and Dragons. And when Wizards of the Coast bought them out, she got a ton of dough, millions upon millions in like stock buyouts or something like that. And so she has this huge war chest of money, and I think she's ready to play against them in a big way. Like they had already been competing against them pretty heavily. So I'm curious to see where that goes. There's a guy who used to write video games. He wrote the Mercenaries game, and it wasn't Left 4 Dead. It was it's the Left 4 Dead company, the Alien game they did. Ooh, where you hunted the alien.
Prey?
Oh, man, what was the name of that game? You had 4 guys that were the hunters, and then there was the big alien. I don't think it did as well as Left 4 Dead did. But he started a YouTube channel talking about tabletop stuff, and it blew up for him. And he's had several huge Kickstarters, and they just had a Kickstarter for their own
Evolve.
game system. Evolve was the game, yeah. The writing was not the issue on that game. I think the asynchronous gameplay, sort of turned people off. But, it's there's a lot of money at play. There's a lot of characters that are now making a push for it, and there's a lot of money being thrown around. It's an interesting time to be in tabletop space to see who's going to be the one to win.
Well, I feel like I want Dungeons and Dragons to take a little bit of a hit, not just because of the
and then the
direction
Baldur's
that the
Gate, and also during all that, Baldur's Gate comes out and just blows past everybody's expectations.
Wipes everybody away.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's going on.
That game's great. But I would like to see Dungeons & Dragons take a hit, because I would hope that would force some restructuring and get out some of the people that are screwing it up. And also, just on a petty note, I want them to take a hit for subjecting us all to Critical Role.
Oh God, I hate Critical Role so much.
There's an alternate timeline where Critical Role would have stuck playing. They were a Pathfinder group. They played Pathfinder. There's an alternate reality that exists, an alternate timeline, where Dungeons and Dragons didn't swoop in and give them money early on to play their game. What would that have looked like? Because nobody really understood that was going to blow up and be as big as it was. Because the girl who ran that channel, the one she did the World of Warcraft show that got hot, red-haired girl,
Felicia Day.
Felicia Day. she got a ton of dough from YouTube and other like investors and things for that this channel about geek shit. And I guess Wizards of the Coast approached her. I'm not sure what the order was about wanting to do a tabletop thing. And she knew the voice actor guys were already playing, and so she got them. Originally, the plan was she was going to be a player in the game. They were going to put her in as like a regular, but time, like schedule-wise, that didn't work out. As that's what I heard. And now all those people are super millionaires. Like they've milked a franchise and lives that I don't think any of them were really expecting to happen from that.
They opened the gate and all of the normies flooded in, and it was not.
Yeah.
It was not good for the health of the fandom.
I don't know. I like the idea of new people coming in. I'm hopeful with what we've been doing with the tabletop campaign I've been a player in. I hope that people that have no idea about D&D stuff or fantasy stuff, they're just kind of curious, like, well, let's see what Charles is up to, or see what these other people are up to. Let's watch it and give it a chance to see that and get into it, because it's supposed to be on band.video. I've been calling it the InfoWars game, but it's Ann Coulter's niece. She's the dungeon master.
Oh wow!
Ramsey Paul is a player. We've recorded about 5 or 6 now. I'm playing a Hulk Hogan bad voice cleric who has done some very, very stupid things. Yeah, I went way over the top.
There's just something though about a band.tv D&D campaign with like Ann Coulter's niece and Ramsey Paul playing. It just feels like it would be cancer. Like the whole campaign would revolve around the libs or some shit.
Oh, Paul, no. Paul has been going. He's been super like Reiki as his character, where he's like this like schmoozer. He's almost like the face of the party. He's playing a nobleman who looks down upon peasants and is schmoozing with people and had never met a woman that he didn't want to chat up. I am playing this maniac. I'm a cleric of Lolth, but I'm a human cleric of Lolth, and my character is 80 years old, and he's like super muscular because I rolled high on my strength thing. So I was like, all right, I'll be the Hulk Hogan character, and I keep doing like gross Lolthy things because she's the evil Spider Queen deity. We got there's another gal who's playing our druid. She keeps turning into a wolf. That's sort of her thing. We got some good stuff going on. I think people are gonna like that.
I'll have to check it out. Spooky does this. Well, used to do this stuff too.
I hope D&D with this new edition swap over. I hope new people come in. I like when new people try stuff and see how it goes for them.
I like when new people come in and
try
adapt.
It and go, well, it's not for me, or well, I like this more, because it even to start up being like, well, I see what Critical Role's doing. It's not really the way that I want to play, because the Dungeons and Dragons, this new edition is not. And I say new edition, this 5th edition, it's about 10 years old now. It's not the same D&D I was playing as a kid in the 90s. It's very different. It's not even the version that was more like Final Fantasy Tactics that we were playing like 15 years ago, because that game was very different, the 4th edition. It was a very tactical game. There was powers that were not unlike the MMO, like World of Warcraft kind of stuff. It was a very different game from what it is now. But you can still see the through line of how we got here, and there's still a lot of the same elements and a lot of the same concepts. But it's a much friendlier game to play. It's a better onboarding for tabletop games. Like you start with D&D, and then you start getting into the crazier stuff, like your Call of Cthulhu's, your Shadowruns, your Dungeon Crawl Classics, all these other RPGs that exist. Your Pathfinders. This Pathfinder's probably a more balanced game, but it's a lot crunchier. It's a lot more math. It's a lot more behind under the hood kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've played some Pathfinder campaigns. There's a lot there. Though were you
playing the first Pathfinder or the newer edition, the one with the 3 action blocks?
I think it was the one with
second edition.
I think it was second edition.
Yeah, the action block thing that makes a lot more sense. It's comparable to what D&D 5e is doing. If you played Baldur's Gate, that's what the 5e rules are. So it's action, bonus action, and you can move. All the classes were the same in Baldur's Gate. You have a subclass that you get at level 3, and then at level 5, there's a pretty significant power bump. Yeah, I like this edition of the game. I think there's good stuff in it. And I'm curious to see when the edition changeover happens and all the other pieces on the board start to move. You know, the Matt Colville, that game comes out, the MCDM game. There's a company called Kobold Press that are putting their game out. Everybody's making moves. I think Pathfinder has a new revised edition of their game coming out. Interesting times to be watching that, because Hasbro, they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
I was about to say they've got it. They've got everything they need here.
The best meme I had is it's the guy
I'm gonna go, guys. Sorry.
From Breaking Bad.
That's okay. We're wrapping up, Spooky.
Yeah, the Breaking Bad guy. We had a good thing going here, but you had to blow it up. You and your hubris. Love that. That's that clip. That's right there in front of the stuff all about how they want to revoke the OGL. So that's what I got going on. I host Real Weird Sickos with my friend Jenna. We do internet culture stuff. It's sort of like we do here, where like we started off, like we have a guest. We've had a lot of big guests. We had Boogie on. I said he had AIDS.
I watched that one.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, we've had Muda on. He's probably done 10 or so. Like he's been on quite a bit. We've had on some guests, some fun people. Wavy Web Surf was one. We had on BG Coombe, was a fun guest. Rusty Cage did the show. Rest in peace, Rusty.
Rest in peace, Rusty Cage.
It's a fun program. We get real silly. I go way over the top.
It's kind of how we do it here.
Memes. I do the memes. I am the meme bastard on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok while it lasts. I got a lot. There's a lot of plates going on. So what do you guys do? So you got the Anime Outsiders is.
Well, Anime Outsiders. I always think it's funny that I'm primarily known for that, because that's kind of just my side hobby for fun thing.
Yeah, you do comics and stuff too, don't you?
Yes, I do comics. I do Cloud Scratcher at cloudscratcher.com, kind of a Disney 90s. Just basically me trying to make my own childhood cartoon.
Yeah.
And I got a book I'm working on, Sanguine Sea. Both of those you can check out at Bayerworks, Bayer Works. That's my art Twitter. Follow that shit for all the goodness. And and then AO, still working on getting the Anime Boomers set up on the AO website, and then we got articles and shit. And like I said, I've opened it up, so like if Gator wants to drop something that's like not quite for Fandom Pulse, and then if anybody else that's in the AO community, we got a Discord community. It's primarily what AO's for. It's a community for people that like anime but find the fandom to be a little bit too much. It's like, I just want to talk about cool cartoons without.
Wouldn't want to be a member of any club that would have me in it.
It's kind of like, you know what, I like these cartoons, but some of y'all are a little too attached to some of these girls. I just want to talk some shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of oddball stuff. So it's.
I mean, that's what the name's for, Anime Outsiders. It's for, you feel like an outsider with the community. You come on over to the Discord, come on over to the website, and hang with someone might like this stuff without being weird about it. I don't want to say that everybody's a fan is weird about it, but you fucking know what I mean. There's going to be someone out there that takes it. Yeah, there's going to be someone out there that takes it like, he's talking about me, shut up. You know what I mean. People are a little bit too serious.
I like that people can disagree on things. I think you made a great point about being morally opposed to the Yakuza games. But I don't give a shit about that. I don't care at all. I'll play the hell out of Yakuza.
I would never demand anything of anybody.
I hate being the joke police. I hate being that guy. I've been calling myself. I hate being the pecker of the group chat. But I gotta say, because some of these group chats I'm in, they go a little hard, and I'm like, I hate being the pecker in the group chat who has to say this, but guys, we got to walk this back here a little bit. Like we're going a little too hard in the group.
Yeah,
chat.
I gotta just in case anybody, because people don't, conceptualization and retention is an all-time low. So I am not upset at anybody liking Yakuza. I'm not upset at Yakuza the series itself.
I am. I'm upset at everybody.
I'm not
I genuinely hate
anything.
my enemies, and I pray for their downfall.
I'm not condemning anything.
I condemn them in the strongest words.
I'm not calling for anything. None of that. Just
Smite them.
Me personally, as a guy, I don't want to play Yakuza because the connection to Sega, I just can't.
I gotta look up that story about the kidnapped girl. That sounds wild.
Yeah, it is wild.
That's something you could cover on your show.
Sega was into some shit back in the day. And
yeah,
it's funny
we'll probably don't be surprised if you see somebody do a video about that in the future.
and Nintendo allegedly was the only large video game company, and that time that did not have Yakuza connections.
I heard some sketchy things about some of the other companies. I don't want to say because we're on a live mic, but man, some of the stuff these companies gotten away
Sega,
with.
Namco, every one of those companies were all Yakuza involved, and this is the reason that the Yakuza series I can't bring myself to play it, is just knowing that not only was Sega Yakuza connected, they were connected to some events, some incidents.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just incidentally Yakuza connected. It's like I said, it's like if a game developer was in ties with the mafia and then made a game about how cool the mafia is. It feels wrong. I feel like I gotta take a shower. I don't want to touch it. So that's just me. But it's just me. If you're a big fan of the Yakuza, I'm not commenting on you in the slightest. It's just a personal me thing and why I don't play Yakuza. That's it. That's as far as it goes. Because I know nowadays, if you say, this bothers me personally, you're saying you're calling for it to be banned.
Mr. Woke, he's woke.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, it's just on a personal level.
Woke.
It's the same reason there's some food I don't eat because I don't like the texture.
He uses pronouns. He's woke.
Yeah, there's some food you don't eat because you don't like the texture. It's kind of the same thing for me. I don't like the vibe. I can't look past it.
I love River City Ransom as a kid, son.
Yeah.
And this is a new version of River City Ransom. I'm there every time. And I did not expect that one that's like the JRPG stuff to be as hot as it was. But man, it was hot. For me, it was hot.
Yeah. I get the appeal. I can see why people love it.
That is true.
I ain't even saying it's overrated. It's overrated. No, you're all dumb for liking it. No,
I think it's underrated. I think it's underrated. Even now that people love it, I think it's still underrated for as good as they are.
That is true, chat. The Yang Ye in the recent dub is a disaster.
Oh,
That's
I bet you
hilarious.
he's terrible. He seems
goes
to
beyond
be
Yang Ye.
reaping and sowing things.
It goes beyond Yang Ye, dude. Have you heard some of the other just voices and moments in this dub? There is a scene, right, where it's supposed to be a guy sitting on a bench and he's talking to this girl that he likes, right? But for inexplicable reason, not only is the girl the acting sounds like PS1 era wooden shit, but for some unknown reason, the man is voiced by a lisping woman. And I don't know whether I'm sure Spooky would say it's some woke shit, trans shit, but I don't know if it was just rank incompetence because it's just like the woman is saying but all those times we spent together, and then you see this guy, clearly a man. I just think that with the time we spent together was so it's what the fuck? It's whiplash. It's man, you think Yang Ye is bad? You gotta see some of these NPCs.
Yeah.
It's is that an artistic direction? Were you trying to invoke the PS1 days? It's Jill, you, the master of unlocking. Were you trying to get my nostalgia
She was
feeling?
the master of unlocking.
You were almost a Jill sandwich. It feels like that PS1 era.
Oh, Barry!
Where no one actually acted in video games. They just kind of read the lines.
God, I love it. I love that so much. Iconic.
I wish I knew more about that scene to tell people to look it up, but it's a scene of two NPCs on a bench, and it's a boy and a girl, and they're in love or something. It's the funniest thing because the clip I saw is the girl talking first. And it's it's funny because this girl can't act, and then the guy talks, and that voice comes out of his mouth, and I was on the floor. It was just I don't know what was going on with that dub, but it was a disaster.
I think that's
Yang
a good.
Ye is just the tip of the iceberg in that dub.
Yeah.
Kei-san's the only redeeming part of that dub because she could speak both Japanese and English. So She did the voices in both.
Interesting.
Yeah, but otherwise, you put that shit. Like I've said before, I'm a proponent of dubs if they're good. I would rather watch something in my native language, and if your eyes are focused on the bottom of the screen. I've talked this before. Like I want dubs to be good because I prefer to watch a dub.
Yeah.
But I
think
when,
I always
when
have
bad, when
subtitles
bad?
on now anyway, because I feel like the mixing on everything is just bad. Everybody's mush mouthed.
It's just
I don't
dubs
know.
in what they
The
used to
world
be.
we live in a hell time for entertainment.
We do.
It's true.
Everything is so fucked now.
That's why you just gotta go back and watch old shit. That's why I keep saying to people, like, you want to see good dubs, the 2000s to the early 2010s. There's a whole bunch of amazing shows I know y'all ain't watched, and you can just watch them in English, and it's like, it's good shit.
Been laughing my ass off as these guys challenge each other to card games and act like this is the most serious thing in the world on Yu-Gi-Oh! It's so fucking funny.
It's just something
We
about
got
it.
like 10 or 15 episodes into this thing, and it is hilarious. I
You're
have
a
no
third-rate
idea how this
duelist with a
game
fourth-rate
works.
deck.
I use the light sword, and then I play Dark Magician.
Then I
It's
play
something-
And my
Magician.
turn.
There's something beautiful, and Japan has this nailed about being absurd and then just fucking owning it.
Yeah, they own it. That's what it is. The commitment to the gimmick.
Yes, Toriyama
Had
did
the
that.
Undertaker not fully embraced being Undertaker, it would not have worked.
Right. If he'd had Poi Embrace being basically a Halloween character.
Yeah, if
And
it had
then
just been a
pretending it was
Brooklyn
all real.
brawler.
Yeah. That's why, like, we hit that biker phase is like the worst time. Because, like, no, you gotta be a spooky man.
Well, he tried. He tried to do something different.
Yeah,
it was
I
an
respect-
adjustment of the character. I don't think it worked.
Yeah.
The big evil, like that era, Booger Red. It didn't work.
Yeah. You gotta own it. And that's why, like, old pro wrestling was great. Because they pretend like they were, like, superheroes. These larger-than-life shit. Yeah, it's all real. Yeah, this is real.
Yeah.
This Papa Shango really did do voodoo curses on everybody. Like, that
Yeah, and
happened.
the Ultimate Warrior was into dexterity.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's it. Like, Japan has that on lock now. Like JoJo, Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball would have characters named after fucking underwear. Trunks.
All right,
And-
we're entering into hour 3.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And people would
it's
say, yeah.
definitely time to wrap
We're
up.
getting weird.
Yeah.
The podcast has gone too long. We're getting real weird here, man.
Getting real weird. It's
real weird,
it's probably time to go
I don't
ahead
know how
and wrap
much
it up
time
here.
we got left, but I'm gonna get real weird with
Well,
That's-
speaking of real weird, hopefully, we gotta
the
get a One
real
Piece episode
weird
going.
sickos. That's the show.
Yes.
And
we
then
gotta get,
our
These
InfoWars thing is called The Campaign.
The
we
campaign
gotta
on
get a One
Band.video.
Piece episode going
Yes.
because the shit that's happening in that manga now.
I haven't
needs
read
its own
today's
episode.
chapter, but I need to.
Oh my god, bro! And like just the plot, and the fact that we're gonna talk about the fact that it's like one of the best manga with one of the worst fan bases. It's like usually you see
Well, it
somebody
used to
with
be
a
the
shirt
best
of a
fan
manga.
base, and now it's one of the worst because of.
Oh, I could tell you
Because of
that worse
Hassan.
was brewing. Worse was brewing even long before that. But that's for that episode. But it's like, you know how usually you see someone wearing a shirt of your favorite show? It's like, oh, new friend. Like I see someone wearing a One Piece shirt. Like, I must avoid this man. I adore One Piece, but I will never talk to you, One Piece fan. Oh, I know you. I know what you're probably like. So yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, we gotta get that going. too,
Yeah,
'cause that's
I gotta get past that Foxy Pirate stuff. I feel like it's gonna lap back around again.
Oh god, you have no idea. You have no idea. One Piece, man. Watch that shit. Just watch it through One Piece, and there you go. You get past all the bullshit filler. You don't have to deal with all that shit. You just get pure uncut One Piece. Or you just
All
read
right,
the
I'm
manga.
Charles Kahn, and this has been the Anime Boomers.
Yes, you can find him. Real World Sicko. Real World.
Real
Weird
sickos.
Sickos.
Mask_bastard.
Dude on Twitter. He's the
Memes
meme man.
Lich, Catterday bastard. Rate the setup.
Man, he's got everything, man. He's a
I feel
million-
like I'm missing one. Let me look at my list because I feel like I'm missing one. I got
He's a
Mask
hydra of
Bastard.
internet shit.
Yeah, Memes Lich, Rate the Setup, Real Weird Sickos, Catterday Bastard, and then I have one all about retro stuff, Retro Mania Z. I always forget the retro one. Whoopsie daisy.
There we go. And of course, Cody.
That's what I got.
Cody, AnimeOutsiders.com, CloudsCratcher.com, and of course his new book. What was the name of it again?
Working on it now. I announced it very early in production specifically to prevent myself from dragging my feet If I keep people abreast of it and keep posting, like, the artwork for it and everything, that'll keep me working. So follow all
Whatever
my
you
stuff.
say, boomers.
So Doki Boomer.
Follow at BAIER Works, Bayerworks, and that's my shit.
Twitter.com/Bayerworks. And also thank you to Spooky. She is youtube.com/SpookyWeebTrash. Longtime co-host from the beginning. Kind of came up with the idea for the podcast. I want to thank her for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for showing up today, watching this stream. If you like it, you can find the audio version on Spotify. I guess Anchor.fm is dead now, but it's I don't know what the new URL is. You can still use Anchor.fm/AnimeBoomers for the audio versions of all of the podcasts. But where you really want to go is youtube.com/AnimeBoomers, where you can find all of these episodes and more. If you're watching this on another website or somebody's just like, restreamed the entire thing, it's youtube.com/AnimeBoomers. Leave a like and subscribe because we're trying to build that channel up. Because you have to seek out to find this channel. You have to seek out and find this channel because I split it off from the GATORTIME channel. So I could have the real true anime boomer warriors over on this side that really, really, really like the podcast. All right. And I'm not going to go into a long diatribe because it's already like 6:30. I usually, I speak for like 15 minutes of like a closing outro. I'm just going to say, that's it. That's the end of the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I think I might be on Rima Evenstar's show tonight at 9 p.m. And Legal Mindset's doing a stream on Monday about Pippa. It's gonna be a Pippa Pipkin, and Cody will be there. It'll be at 11 p.m. Eastern on Monday. I'll probably be on Rima's stream tonight at 9 p.m. So I'll see you guys over there. Have a good night.